If you've ever led a team chant during a company meeting, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. That's right. Yesterday, I led a Bears chant in a team meeting. It was entirely out of context, set up by one of my teammates. And the Packer fan that was in the meeting was not pleased about that. But we survived and we made it. We made it to another day here. It's hump day. It's Wednesday, December 3rd. So this is the Benzinga Pre-Market Playbook edition for Wednesday, December 3rd, excuse me. We do have some news to go over here. We had some earnings last night. We got a special segment for you here today. We have Tim Melvin coming on today. We got story trading later. We have a loaded slate for you here today. So we are going to make the most of today's market. And are we going to break out? Are we going to break out? We shall see. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the December edition for December 3rd, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces for you here today. Hope that you all had a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I hope that so far, even though it's early, your Wednesday is treating you well. Good to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Peter is first here today. Peter says a little snow here today. Peter, I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure you're in Colorado. I'm surprised that you only have a little bit. I would think that there are people already skiing out there. But nonetheless, thanks for joining us. Zach McCracken, good morning, Benzie gang. Let's seize the day. Indeed, brother, let's do that. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Brian saying IREN just put out another offering, a direct one this time at 41.12. Tell you what, IREN looked like it was going to bounce yesterday. Really didn't. Now it looks like a little bit more lows. That chart doesn't look great. Let me actually add that to the list here. Maybe we could take a look at IREN a little bit later. Good morning, Brian. Welcome back. Ryan, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good morning and welcome back. H&H Tactical. Good morning. Big Dave. Good morning. A little chilly in New Orleans. Oh, so it's chilly even in the South. Now, what's chilly to you? Because right now it's 24 degrees here. It was actually, it might be a little bit lower than that. No, 24 degrees. We have a low of 9 here today. So that should be fun. Tomorrow's going to be even worse. Nonetheless, good morning. Stay warm. H&H Tactical says, my daughter's in Alabama and they got a cold advisory of 31 degrees. I woke up to 9. There you go. So you know what actual cold is like. Good morning and welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Jay, good morning. It's good to see you again. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Neville, likewise, welcome back. Graf, good morning. Bill, good morning. It's good to see you. Bill, no session on Thursday, by the way. I know you always look forward to those. This week, we won't have one. We should be back next week. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Dara, it's good to see you. Good morning. Welcome. Ed, happy hump day indeed. And to you, brother. Uncle Dracula, checking in from Transylvania. Absolutely love it. How's the blood today? Cool? Fresh? You'll have to let me know. Bernhard, welcome back. Lambo Rolls, welcome back. Just passing through, welcome back. Tyler, it's good to see you. Snowflake earnings tonight? Yes. Actually, yes, there is. Earnings here tonight. We'll see how that does. Marty, good morning. It's always good to see you. Gary, good morning. It's always good to see you. Philip, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Judge, good morning. It's good to see you. Jane, good morning. Whisk, good morning. Mo, good morning. Live to Trade, good morning. Who am I missing here? Crimp Biscuit, Chris, and JJ, good morning. Bobby, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Great trading day for Day Trader yesterday. I tell you what, the SOL trading that you do here, you always have eye-popping percents. Let us know, let me know, or let the group know, I guess what kind of setups you're looking for. Do you expect this move in Bitcoin to continue? Is it a reflexive move? You'll have to let me know all that stuff. Nonetheless, we'll start with a register ring on that trade. Dive Deep, good morning. James Bond, good morning. That might be one of the best handles that we've seen here on the show. Good morning. Chopped Coop, good morning. Frank, it's good to see you. Crankbait, welcome back. Good to see you. Robot, good morning. Joe Schmo, good morning. Cam, good morning. Dirkus, good morning. And Marty, good morning. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. All right, futures in the green here this morning. S&P futures up 0.27%, Dow futures up 0.25%, and NASDAQ up 0.21%. So green across the board, albeit just slightly green here ahead of Wednesday's open. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Industrials and information technology stocks led the market on Tuesday, overcoming losses in utilities, energy, and material sectors to help U.S. stocks settle higher. U.S. stock futures again rose here this morning on Wednesday after a modest advance on Tuesday. Meanwhile, President Trump launched Trump accounts, providing every eligible newborn in the U.S. with a $1,000 government-funded savings account to jumpstart their financial future. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.08%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.49%. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here, and the first stock it feels great that this is on the list because this is a stock that our group had identified using Benzinga Pro several weeks ago by looking for a scan for chip stocks that really haven't moved yet. And since that time, Marvell has moved quite a bit. So first stock in focus here is, in fact, Marvell Technologies. That's ticker MRVL. That jumped 9.83% after reporting better than expected third quarter financial results and announcing the acquisition of Celestial AI. Good move there for MRVL. CrowdStrike is the second stock in focus here today. It dropped 2.36% despite reporting better than expected financial results for the third quarter and raising its full year guidance. This is the type of behavior that we've been monitoring around this earnings season's earnings reports. If the stock reports a good earnings and good guidance or has good numbers and then trades down, that's notable. We saw that in NVIDIA, we saw that in Palantir, and now we're seeing the start of that here in CrowdStrike. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually trades here today, if there's more downside or if we just simply bounce now that the binary event is out of the way. The next stock on our list is American Eagle Outfitters. That's ticker AEO. That climbed 12.71% as it reported third quarter revenue of $1.36 billion, which beat the analyst estimates of $1.32 billion, and had adjusted earnings of 53 cents per share, beating the analyst estimates of 44 cents per share. Clearly, the Sydney Sweeney effect still providing a tailwind for this company. The next stock on our list is going to be Salesforce. This is ticker CRM. That was 0.55% higher as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings at $2.86 per share on revenue of $10.27 billion after the closing bell here today. The last stock on our list is Acadia Healthcare. That's ticker ACHC. Alpha Charlie Hotel Charlie. That plunged 22.8% after it lowered its full year financial outlook. All right, let's take a look at the SPY. Let's break it down like a fraction. I'll be honest with you. The title of today's show was, Is There a Breakout Incoming? And one of the reasons we decided on that is because for a few reasons. Number one, the chart, which we're going to talk about right here. But there also seems to be option placement that implies we might make a move towards 700 on the SPY or 7,000 on the SPX. Now, maybe it won't go exactly to that number. Perhaps it overshoots that number by a little bit if we do end up getting that move. But as far as the chart goes here on SPY, we had a nice, again, just kind of recapping what we've done recently, we had a nice clean bounce off the 100-day. That process allowed us to recapture the two all-time high levels that we've been battling here and using as support and resistance. And we also reclaimed the 50 and the 20-day moving average. And then finally, we reclaimed the trend line. Better still, we back-tested the trend line, held above that, and have continued to trade sideways. Now, this to me seems like if we're going to trade sideways up here, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of huge news there. I know we got the Fed next week. The market seems to really think we're getting a rate cut. To me, it almost seems like that's kind of priced in here, dare I say. So it sure looks to me like the market is trying to break to the upside here and perhaps make that move towards 700 that we're looking for. This would be obviously in the December month here, it's a very bullish month on a seasonality perspective. A lot of jovial attitude during this time, and it sure looks like the SPY wants to do that. Now we'll see if it is able to do that here. We'll see if the Fed throws a monkey wrench in here. Earnings have been supportive of this, and even today, if we look inside here today, you can see we're actually drifted higher than where we closed yesterday already. Now, we are running into resistance at the intraday high from yesterday. I would amend this slightly and say that the actual resistance point is 684. And we got close to testing that. We didn't actually print that level, but if I zoom back out, look what we did on Friday. We, in fact, did trade up to 684. We couldn't get above it. And then on Monday, when the market opened here, we were lower in the pre-market. We traded up out of the open. It was actually a strong day post the open. We couldn't quite get to that 684 spot. We got slightly higher yesterday, but didn't test it. So on deck today, 684, definitely going to be a key level to the upside. I think if we break that, we're probably set up to go towards the previous all-time high. Let me get you that exact value there. I can never remember it exactly. Right here, all-time high, 689.70. That was from October 29th. That would be the next upside key level. The downside key levels are going to be all of the things that we just spent time reclaiming, starting with the trend line. I have that at about 677, 678-ish. And then the other moving averages, the 20 at 673 and the 50 at 671. So we'll see if we are able to break out here today. If I don't have a position, so I don't have any money behind this now other than the things that I are normally holding. I'm not actually trading SPY itself. But interested to see if any of you folks are, or if you think that there is another move here. I am thinking that we get at least one more up move before we get any down move. We'll see if that ends up materializing. All right, let's get back to some insights from analysts here. There we go. BlackRock maintained a pro-risk investment stance. Let me pause right there. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Bitcoin really kind of being a risk on versus risk off indicator. We saw Bitcoin actually trade up back above 90,000. We actually had a morning high here of 94,310 on the futures ticker for Bitcoin. It's off that high a little, but barely. It's at 93,330 right now. So Bitcoin still up 2% on that futures chart. Definitely seems like that risk on indicator is carrying over into today. That would be one more reason why I think the SPY might go north. We'll see. Anyway, BlackRock maintains a pro-risk investment stance favoring U.S. equities as a softening labor market clears the path for Federal Reserve rate cuts. The firm characterizes the current employment landscape as a no hiring, no firing stasis, allowing the central bank to pursue risk management cuts without immediately reigniting inflation. This cooling backdrop, alongside a rebounding AI theme, reinforces their overweight position in U.S. stocks, which they argue are backed by stronger earnings and profitability relative to other developed markets. While the firm sees a path for rate cuts in the near term, it remains cautious of longer-term structural risk, specifically pointing to a risk of received tensions between sticky inflation and debt sustainability. Despite these simmering pressures, BlackRock believes the Fed currently has space to ease policy without raising questions around these policy tensions, supporting a constructive outlook for risk assets heading into 2026. Now, the way that I would look at that, because we're all very active, I don't necessarily need to look that far ahead. The way I'm kind of playing this here is I expect there to be a little bit of a bullish move for the end of December or for the end of 2025. And I will reassess and stay nimble in 2026. It would not surprise me at all if we kind of traded up. There was a little bit of a bullish sentiment as the calendar flips over to 2026. But I would also not be surprised if we had a sell-off, let's call it a pullback, in the broader market shortly after the new year. I think that it's more likely that we get one of those pullbacks after the calendar turns rather than before the calendar turns, but we'll see. And obviously we have the Santa Claus rally, which starts after Christmas and then goes into the new year for a couple of days. We'll see if we end up getting that. That should be a pretty good barometer for us. As far as some upcoming economic data, November's ADP employment data will be out by 8:15 here today, whereas September's delayed import price index will be released by 8:30. September's industrial production and capacity utilization data will be out by 9:15. All right, let's talk really quickly about Marvell. I kind of hinted at that earlier, being a real good win for our group here. Here's what the chart looks like. I think when we identified this, it was down here in an 80 handle, 80 or 79. And it is just, it's like shortly after we did that, it made a huge run. It bounced clean off the 200-day. Actually looks pretty good. Now today, what we had here, you can see I had drawn on the left shoulder and I had drawn on the head. And yesterday I was like, oh man, this is setting up to create a head and shoulders pattern on the daily if we sell back off. But we didn't sell off. Stock's up 10.5% here on the back of those earnings. And you can see we are actually gapping above the head. If I zoom out a little bit, this basically took us to a support area that we tested at the beginning of this year. So I do think Marvell here regaining the triple digit mark and breaking back into 100. I do think we kind of see a battle here. I feel less confident about a gap and go, given where the chart is. I would be less surprised if the stock pulled out of the open, a little bit of profit taking on some of the binary event traders, and then maybe resumed its move to the upside here. We'll see how it all shakes out, but just understand this is what the chart looks like on Marvell. So a nice little move there should hopefully invalidate this head and shoulders. I mean, it sure looks like it's going to when that candle gets drawn. Maybe it fills the gap back in. That'd be nasty. But so far, it looks like we're going to avoid that head and shoulders. Next move for Marvell may be higher. I'd like to get your opinion on that if you're going to trade that. Marvell Technologies, again, ticker MRVL, is pushing deeper into the artificial intelligence hardware arms race with a potential multi-billion-dollar deal to acquire a photonics startup that could boost its position in high-performance data center silicon, according to a report. The company is reportedly in advanced talks to buy chip startup Celestial AI in a cash and stock deal valued at more than $5 billion, including potential earnouts tied to product milestones. The information reported that on Tuesday, citing unnamed sources familiar with the matter. Remember, we got that confirmed with the earnings report. Benzinga reached out to Marvell's investor relations for comment. I'm sure we'll get a response back. When we do, we'll update the story. Marvell, a $78.5 billion networking chip maker that competes with Broadcom in custom silicon and data center infrastructure, would expand its portfolio by acquiring Celestial AI. Excuse me. Let's see where I lost my spot there. Sorry. Lost my spot there. Geez. By acquiring Celestial AI, a startup developing photonics technology to boost communication speeds between AI compute and memory chips. Also wanted to mention here, JP Morgan's Harlan Sur expects the company to meet or slightly beat earnings estimates this week. That's exactly what we saw. Stock ended up trading higher. So let me know what you folks think on Marvell. Is this a trade or is this a good long trade and all of that? Now, some of you had mentioned Snowflake earlier. They're going to report earnings here today. I'd love to know if you folks have a Snowflake position or a Snowflake trade there. Before we dive into that story real quickly here, ADP non-farm employment change for November, minus 32K versus the 5K positive estimate. Non-farm employment change in October revised from plus 42K to plus 47K. S&P futures look like they're ticking down a little bit here. When we started the show, it was up 0.25%. It's currently up 0.23%. So a little bit of a reaction to this number, it looks like, but not all that much. And frankly, we are basically at where we were when we started the show. So far, seems like not a whole lot going on there. Now, let's talk about Snowflake. Snowflake shares are jumping on Tuesday, moving in tandem with Mongo database after both data platform companies saw their stocks jump in after-hours trading on Monday. Snowflake and MongoDB are both data platform companies serving enterprise customers with cloud-based solutions. Investors appear to be anticipating upbeat earnings from Snowflake set to release Wednesday, December 3rd, today after the close. Following Mongo's strong results, we'll see how Snowflake ends up trading after that. After the announcement of the third quarter revenue, which amounted to $628.31 million, Mongo data stock went up nicely. The revenue was a 19% increase compared to the previous year, which was already above the estimated amount of $591.5 million. Adjusted earnings per share were reported at $1.32, which was far more than the estimated 80 cents. In addition, the company has upgraded its fiscal 2026 predictions. The revenue for the whole year is now said to be between $2.43 billion and $2.44 billion, in contrast to the previous range of $2.34 billion to $2.36 billion. The adjusted earnings are estimated to be $4.76 to $4.80 per share, which is an increase from the earlier $3.64 to $3.73 per share. On the other hand, Snowflake showed a product revenue of $1.09 billion in its latest quarter, which indicates a 32% increase compared to the same quarter in the previous year. The net revenue retention was 125%. The firm gained 654 new customers with more than $1 million in annual product revenue, and also got 751 customers from the Forbes Global 2000 list. Remaining performance obligations totaled $6.9 million, which was up 33% year over year. Quote, Snowflake delivered yet another strong quarter with product revenue of $1.09 billion, up a strong 32% year over year, and remaining performance obligations totaling $6.9 billion. That was from Sridhar Ramaswamy, CEO of Snowflake. Thousands of customers are betting their business on Snowflake, and more than 6,100 accounts are using Snowflake's AI every week. For the third quarter, Snowflake had guided for a product revenue of $1.125 billion to $1.13 billion, representing 25% to 26% year-over-year growth. We will see if they are able to hit that mark. You know what we might want to do also is take a quick peek at the Snowflake chart here. Let's do that real fast. See where we're at. So Snowflake here sitting at 263.51. It's up 1.5% here. You can see the big level that we're coming up to is in fact this trend line. This trend line originated back in 2020, December of 2020. What a different time that was. And it's actually gone through some of the recent highs here, with the most recent high completing this trend line. This gives us a target to break. This is great. We have a pitched up 50-day moving average. We've just reclaimed the 20. And it looks to me like we are going to test this here today. I've got this value, 279. We'll see if we test that in the regular session, but the earnings report will really tell the story there with what's going on. Okay. Also, one more stock that I wanted to mention here. We can actually start with the chart. We have a new AI/data center play. And I guess maybe it's not new, but it's not one that we talk about a lot. It's Pure Storage. All right. Ticker PSTG. And if we just take a look at a longer term chart here, what a move this was. This was another massive winner from the Liberation Day pullback that just really represented one of the best buying opportunities in some time in the market. Pure Storage shows that completely. The other thing here is that we had a nice pop back in August. I believe this was on their earnings report. That created this nice little island formation. We've actually already pulled back, held at the 100, which was about halfway through the candle after the pop. And now it looks like we're trading up here. Now, this is down 12.93% after its earnings, 82.47. So 82.5 is basically where we're at. When we look inside at the chart, this is what it looks like. Now, the one thing that I noticed right away here, which I'm going to be watching in today's session for a potential trade, the impulse move, we traded up into earnings. We've talked about that as being not a great sign, less than ideal. Stocks that traded down into earnings actually seem to perform better. Anyway, as soon as this reported earnings, we had this impulse low down here, right about $80. Today in the pre-market, we actually traded towards that level, and so far we've held it. So right away, key level for today seems to be that round $80 number. If we break beneath that, we can likely use the daily chart to figure out where the next spot down is. Looking at that, I would probably say this 76. That would be a pretty key spot, and then below that 69. We'll see if we end up getting there. But Pure Storage here, I know it's trading down on earnings. Really, the question that I want to ask the group here, does this represent a buying opportunity on that pullback? Pure Storage drops after its earnings on Tuesday in extended trading after the company released its third quarter report. Pure Storage reported quarterly earnings of 58 cents per share, which met the consensus estimate, according to Benzinga Pro. Quarterly revenue came in at $964.45 million. This beat the analyst estimate of $956.14 million. Pure Storage reported the following highlights. Subscription services revenue of $429.7 million. That was up 14% year over year. Subscription annual recurring revenue, or ARR, was $1.8 billion. That was up 17% year over year. And remaining performance obligations, or RPO, was $2.9 billion. That was up 24% year over year. Quote, Pure Storage delivered another strong quarter as global customers increasingly chose Pure to solve their toughest data management challenges. That came from Pure Storage CEO Charles Giancarlo. He goes on to say, competitive advantage in the AI era demands data accessibility. Pure's enterprise data cloud breaks data free from application silos, allowing enterprises to harness the power of AI, automation, and analytics. Now, I know that sounds a little kind of buzzwordy, AI jargon kind of sprinkled in there, but it sure seems like this is actually going to be a key player in the AI data center arms race. Pure Storage raised its fiscal 2026 revenue guidance to between $3.63 billion and $3.64 billion versus the $3.62 billion estimate. Okay, it's Wednesday, and I know it's been a few weeks, but I have good news for y'all. Tim Melvin is back. Let's go ahead and bring him on and say hi. Tim, welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be back. Sorry, we've just had some Wednesday scheduling conflicts with appointments and whatnot. I apologize for that. This is one of my favorite parts of the week. Now, Ryan, we're kicking off, right? It's the first week of December.
Yes, sir.
Those of you that have known me a long time, then maybe there's a few of you in the group, know that this means the Christmas season is starting, which means, drum roll, it's time for the Christmas shirts. Now, we started off tame this week, Ryan. We did. We were very tame. All right. All we got is we got a little Santa Claus on there, so some snowflake sprinkles. So yeah, this is our first of many to come of Christmas shirts. So I have a closet full of them, to my wife's dismay.
You know, I'll be honest, Tim. I absolutely love that you are starting off tame. You're teasing this now, and now I'm expecting this to really kind of ramp into some craziness. We also, a couple weeks here, we've got the Army-Navy football game. I know you got to be excited about that. You got your shirt for that.
I have a special shirt for that. I have a special Christmas Army-Navy shirt.
I love to hear it.
So, yeah, we've got some good stuff coming up for you. But today, look, I owe you all. So let's start off with some fun stuff, all right?
Well, I have to read this comment because this one's good. Tim, it looks like you're ready to go bowling with that shirt. It does look like a bowling team member shirt.
Well,
to be quite honest with you. That's not a bad thing.
My stellar 70 average has kept me out of most bowling leagues, and that's if I get real lucky. I mean, I've embarrassingly lost to my granddaughter when she was 6. So yeah, we don't do bowling, but we do like the shirts.
Okay, fair enough. Tim, what do you got for us today?
All right, let's open up with some really cool trades. And first off, Green Dot is a bank that's been around for a while. David Einhorn has been a large investor for it forever. They are best known for being the backer of the Walmart prepaid and credit cards. Now, they've been around a while. Years ago, in order to make this a more efficient operation, is in terms of the credit card and prepaid card issuance, they bought a bank. Bonneville Bank out in Utah, a little one branch bank, not much to it. So this is mainly a giant credit card portfolio stuffed inside a bank. They own a bunch of fintech businesses. All right, now, guys, fintech, crappy business, really just not good. The entrenched fintech companies are there. Nobody's really been able to make up much of an input. Fintech became kind of code for subprime and drag. All right. So Green Dot's looking at this. This is a really good business with the credit cards and the prepaid cards, and they've got relationships. I'm pulling. I got to get to.
What kind of time horizon do you have here on Green Dot?
Well, now hang on to your horses here, cowboy. Let me get through the presentation. All right. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Okay. Green Dot has announced a strategic transaction. All right. Smith Ventures is going to buy all of the embedded finance companies, the banking as a service, the consignments, the payment cards. They're buying all of that. They're paying $690 million, $470 million. that comes to us, dear shareholders. It's $8.11 a share. Okay. 155 million of this capital goes right into the bank. All right. Now, the total value of the deal with the new bank trading at 1 times book is $14.23. The higher the stock price goes, right? The more valuable, the higher the price to book goes, the more this is worth to us in an initial arbitrage transaction. So we've got a nice pure risk arb setting up here. Okay. We're going to pay ta-da, $13.14 if we buy it right now. Okay. So we're going to get $14.34 minimum at 1 times book in stock and cash. We're going to get $8.11 in cash. So now we're looking at the numbers on the bank, and clearly that the deal is saying that the book value is $6.12. We're going to be paying around $5. We're getting the bank, which is then, by the way, immediately merging with Commerce One out of Alabama. That is a leading kind of one branch business oriented bank with a really strong commercial and industrial portfolio. They've had one loan be late in the entire existence of the bank. Okay. So a little one branch bank with a business portfolio will fold in to this massive collection of deposits and credit card loans. So you've got this really unique, very cool bank that we can buy at 1 times book, basically, by buying into Green Dot today. I think the bank is worth quite a bit more than 1 times book. I'm going to give you the numbers on this here. In the combined bank, we're going to have loans are only going to be about 15% of earnings assets. That's 80% generally. Forward earnings growth should be around 35% a year over the next 3 years. They're going to have one of the lowest efficiency ratios, which is measure of cost control in the entire industry at 40%. The industry averages is up close to 60. Return on assets, return on actual tangible common equity, 15%, very low leverage ratio. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on inside this bank. The embedded finance part of it includes the Walmart business. I'm just looking for the entire list of customers here. But it's Walmart, it's Target, it's a bunch of private branded cards. There's going to be third-party bank sponsorships. The commercial lending opportunities off of this base of large deposit base is going to be rather large. They're going to be able to take this cash out of securities, earning around 2.5%, and get it into higher yielding securities, and even better, higher yielding loans. Risk adjusted loan yield on a commercial industrial loan right now is 7%. So current yield on cash is 2.5%. Yeah, good things can happen with this bank. So you're setting up a pretty low risk opportunity just using a little basic kind of risk arbitrage to back into it by buying Green Dot here. And remember, you get a big chunk of cash back as soon as the deal closes.
Real quickly here, Lion saying the G Dot chart looks awful. And I mean, like the previous
price action does. Back up. This is a merger arbitrage deal. I don't care if the chart looks like a corpse. There is an offer on the table and agreed to. We're going to get the stock of the bank. Okay. Now, merger arbs and charts don't go together. All right. They're like the Chicago White Sox and World Series titles. I was reaching
I'll take for Chicago. That, Tim. Let's go.
I was reaching for a Chicago sports franchise, but I realized the Cubs are going to be good next year, and the Bears are great this year. So
you picked the right one.
So yeah, I went with the right one. But look, guys, do not. If I say the words merger and arbitrage, don't bring me charts because they're irrelevant at that point.
What I will say, though, looking at this chart, Tim, is that it does look like it's probably put in a bottom here. And that was one of the reasons why I was asking you about a time horizon here, because it looks like it's spent time bottoming.
Yeah, well, it does. There's an offer. You guys do get when the deal closes, this stock doesn't exist anymore, right? Okay,
I do. Yeah.
yeah. So the chart
Sorry.
doesn't matter. Once there's a deal on the table, all we're looking at is the probability that the deal goes through and what we're going to get paid. Do not ever bring up technical analysis during a discussion of merger arbitrage, or I shall lecture you voraciously. Okay. All right. Moving on. Couple other
Oh,
things.
really quickly. I have to mention this because as someone that's a native Chicagoan who travels to Detroit quite a bit, I have to give a shout out here out of respect. It has nothing to do with this company, but there is a restaurant in Detroit called Green Dot Stables. Tim, I don't know if you like burgers at all, but they make the most delicious sliders you've ever had. They're small. You can probably have about 4 of them, which would equate to a normal meal. And they are crazy in the different flavor combinations, from Nashville hot chicken to regular cheeseburgers to all sorts of different stuff. Green Dot Stables, big shout out. Every time I look at this stock, and I've looked at it before because you and I have talked about it, or you've mentioned it before. Every time I look at this stock, I think about that, and I think about how much I wish to be there. So if I ever meet any of you in Detroit, we are going to Green Dot. I'm telling you that right now. My producer knows exactly what's going on here. You can't see him, but he is confirming that I am correct on this. So we'll do that. Okay. Sorry about the digression there, Tim. Good stuff. Okay. What else you got for us?
You got a little noise in the shipping industry this morning, and that Diana Shipping, or actually this week, Diana Shipping has made an unsolicited offer for Genco Shipping and Trading at $20.60 a share in cash, leaving about $1.35 of upside if the deal should go through. That's at the 50 to be above the 52-week high for the year. The stock was at 18 before the deal was made. I think it's going to take a higher offer to get this deal done. I mean, book on this thing's 2050. I don't think they'll sell for 2060. But this kind of puts it in play and starts to give you an idea of what it's worth. You've got a decent 4.77% dividend estimate on Genco. We are going to start seeing consolidation in the shipping industry. All right. New builds have been at a low. There's for a whole bunch of reasons. New builds are very expensive. If you want to expand your fleet, the easiest way to do it at current pricing is going to be through M&A. So I am looking at deeply undervalued shipping companies because I think we're going to see some M&A coming in there. So and then one other one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I owe you guys. So I'm throwing you some stuff out that I've noticed in special situation land out there.
Sweet.
Unified First Corporation. The symbol here is UNF. They make uniforms. All right. Like you wear to work uniforms. They make those, and they work with large companies. And Costco is. I've got the list here somewhere. Where to go? Costco is a customer. Whole Foods is a customer. ADM, Stellantis, Coca-Cola, CarMax, Hershey's, Bristol Myers, Target, Land O'Lakes, Hendrick, for all you NASCAR fans, Ryder, Shell. So, I mean, they work with a whole bunch of large corporations, right? And they have a very, very cool business. It's not a big business, but it is a cool business. They do specialized garments for clean room in the nuclear industries, and that's just a great business that probably deserves a little bit of a premium multiple. Here's the thing: the business is the founder died. It's a family controlled business with dual control share structure. Engine Capital is doing what Engine Capital does best for a small activist firm, and they are agitating the you know what out of the good folks at UniFirst. They want them to sell the company, and they've got a lot of larger shareholders on their side. They're kind of irate. Cintas, that's the 800-pound gorilla in the uniform industry.
Yeah.
In 2022, they offered $255 for the stock. And Ryan, if you look at UNF, you'll see trading well below that.
177 right now.
2024, they came back and said, all right, we'll give you 275. Okay. December 3rd, 2024, they reiterated the offers for 2024. And in January of this year, they submitted an offer for 275 and the board turned them all down. It does look like the family's doing a little bit of, not necessarily double double dealing, but it's your shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, right? You got the founder and the generation that lives off of it. And we're all back to trying to build a business again. This is the generation that's living off the fat of the land. The dual shareholder structure has protected them because they have voting control. But your River Road, JP Morgan, and Barclays have all said, hey, guys, sell this damn company. It's a great business. It's better off in somebody else's hands. This one could be in play. There's exactly zero takeover premium built into the stock at the current price.
So this is also possible that you just wake up one morning and you've got a huge premium gain on a buyout.
Yeah. But then if also if you look at
Gigantic.
this, earnings are going to be flat. The chart's not bad. I mean, as far as charts go, if you like charts, it's not a ridiculously overpriced business. It is should be a very high return business. It's not right now, but it's capable of being. The activists are right here. The business is worth a lot more in somebody else's hand. They could easily get $275, $300 a share for this. So,
okay. That's almost a double from where we're at this morning, Tim. That would be a monster trade.
Yes, and then one other thing that I have to comment on this because I like to I like to see genius and recognize it. And I did listen to Michael Burry's interview with Michael Lewis on a podcast. If you hadn't had a chance, it's really good. In it, Burry talks about 3 things. Okay, A, he discusses the future of Bitcoin. He agrees with me that in the short term, it's a speculative digital asset and probably worthless in the long run. Okay. And save your bows and arrows, guys. I'm not changing my mind. The other one is the proper Fed's fund rate is right about here. If you take historical long-term risk-free rates, it's right about here. So the measure of genius is how much a man agrees with you. Under these circumstances, Michael Burry is a first-class genius because we are in agreement. But then he did something else that I love and that I've used for the last 20 years or so, and it's worked when we use it. And that is when you look at those alleged multi-billion-dollar positions that he had, the short positions, and this is why he closed the fund. They were put options, okay, and they were 2 years out on Palantir, and they were $50 strike. He was making very small total dollar bets that 2 years from now, this thing would implode. And he had done it, as you know, across a bunch of the companies. But he said, it's a ridiculous way to report it. I can't even really get on TV and talk about it without triggering a whole bunch of compliance issues. And hey, you know what? I'm rich anyway. So I think I'll just pull out. He started a new newsletter on Substack that he's doing, and he just is talking about his stuff like the good old days of the 1980s and 90s when he was on the Yahoo boards, and we all figured out who Michael Burry was. So Michael Burry is basically acting like Tim Melvin, which makes him one of the smarter guys around. So I just had to mention that.
Okay.
I hope he's got cool shirts because I mean, I'd hate to think that he didn't.
Maybe he's a bowler. If so, he probably does.
Well, some of us, want to be bowlers, and some of us just walk around dressed like bowlers. It's kind of like most of American basketball players. We all want to be basketball players, and we walk around in the basketball jerseys. None of us can play basketball. There's a very limited set of people that are 6'10" and can sink a 3-pointer. So
yeah, I mean, I'm almost there at 6'4", and I still do. I've got one jersey. It's a classic Michael Jordan Red Bulls Mitchell and Ness jersey, and that is a collector's item.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a Brooks Robinson jersey, but that doesn't mean I can play third base and hit home runs.
That's true. Very true. Good point.
Anyway, and my bowling shirt has Santa Claus on it, so I'm automatically one up. I win. All right, let's get into some academic studies because there were 2 cool ones that I want to make sure I've got time to address. There's one called The Best Defensive Strategies, 2 Centuries of Evidence, and they go all the way back for 222 years of data using European and then U.S. markets. And they looked at a classic 60-40 portfolio and how to hedge it. And, what defensive tools are going to work best. And they looked at global stocks, bonds, gold, a broad spectrum of factor strategies. And so over 212 years, by the way, the 60-40 global equity bond portfolio has returned about 7% a year. The knock on that is it's down 20% all the time in a drawdown, which scares a lot of people. We've had drawdowns of as much as 71% in a 60-40 portfolio. So they went in, Ryan, let's get pro fired up, because this is where we're going to start looking at some pro stuff.
You can't see it? I got it on the screen.
Oh, okay. No, because I've got the paper in front of me.
Got it.
You know, I can multitask, but not at readings.
Fair enough.
All right. So traditional defensive equity factors work, right? Switching to low risk, quality, and value. So that's low beta, quality, and value, basically provide consistent downside protection. They can be posted when they can be tested. And that's been since 1866 forward. They outperform gold significantly and outperform put option hedging over long horizons. All right. Let me touch on that in a second. Gold, absolutely stone cold. Gold's got some uses as a store of value. It fails miserably as a hedge. In the worst 10% of 60-40 portfolio drawdowns, stock and bond drawdowns, gold produced negative returns. Okay. So even in your big crises, like outside the 1980s to 20s area, gold frequently underperformed other assets. And that's a fascinating study I'd love to do in and on my own, because I'm sure there's all sorts of cool psychological and economic reasons for that. Now, short-dated protective puts really do work over very short time horizons, but negative long-term returns, right? So long-term upward drift, therefore short-dated protective puts have to have a negative long-term return. You know, we've had a lot of success hedging portfolios when credit spreads are really tight, valuations are really high, and you have signs of momentum exhaustion to the upside, trend exhaustion to the upside. But to just continually have put options in place is a very, very expensive strategy, and in the long run doesn't work. The most effective, Ryan, trend following, just plain old time series momentum. What we're talking about, there's two ways to do it, right? One, the market goes to a zero return for the trailing 12 months. You can really get hammered doing that. But the other one is just the 200-day moving average, and whichever one's triggered first, you put a hedge in place. So, so there's that. But now where it gets interesting is, all right, let's go up here and look at some lower risk quality and value strategies in pro. Let's go to the scanner, if you don't mind, Ryan. We'll show you how to try to put some of this to work.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, let's go to quality. And I'm going to just clone this on mine. Okay, let's do a quality ranking of 80. We want to be in the upper percentages, right? Top 20% of companies by quality. Then I'm going to add an additional factor to this to increase the downside cushion, I guess is the way we'll put this. Let's put a 3% dividend yield in there.
Okay.
Now, boom, there's our list of stocks, right? We've got 33 stocks that qualify. Now, a couple things that you're going to notice about this list right off the top. There's not a lot of U.S. companies on here.
No, there isn't.
Okay. That's talking. If you're listening, that's talking. Okay. Credit spreads are tight. Valuations are extremely high. You could argue that they're the highest they've ever been. So, and you can argue that those levels are justified, and you'll sound exact like an internet stock buyer back in 1999. It's going to be tough to justify it going forward. And I'm not predicting we'll have a big crash or something like that, but putting an extra quality tilt in your portfolio, not the worst idea I ever heard. So when we do that, there's Blackstone right at the top of things. And if there's a company that's going to benefit, kind of no matter what happens in here, it's Blackstone. The private equity firms and private credit firms are going to do real well if the economy just keeps chugging along. They own a bunch of companies that are going to benefit from AI. And if we get into a distress situation, they're a player. So, a company like Blackstone with a 3.5% dividend, extremely high quality rankings, pretty reasonably valued.
And looking at the chart, Tim, I mean, the uptrend and the momentum, the trend following that you were talking about earlier, it's as clear as day in Blackstone here.
Yeah. And then you get into Invesco, IVZ, and if memory serves, that is the asset management company and not the, yes. So this is just an asset management company sitting here cranking out a 3.5% dividend at 9 times earnings. So you're definitely taking a much more defensive positioning with these stocks. And then let's flip that now and take the, and you saw how quick that was, right? That was like 10 seconds and boom, boom. Give me some quality stocks with a dividend I might want to consider. And we've got a whole bunch of names on the screen just like that to look
I
at.
don't know if there's an easier way to do this than what we've built here in Pro.
There's really
we show off. Yeah.
No, it's
Tim, look, I was actually supposed to ask you a question, then I got all distracted because I saw some news drop here for one of the stocks that I'm holding. But this is for you. Huntington Bank has an offer on the table for Cadence. Can you see if he thinks this is better than Green Dot? Because I think it is.
Well, so the Green Dot's cash. Now, let me just go back, and this is a good deal at the moment. I like the combination of the two banks. I will tell you that. Now, let me go back. I got to look at the structure of the deal because this is important, right? H-band versus cash. Okay, to buy Cadence Bank in $7.4 million deal. See, now here's the problem with that, okay? In the Green Dot deal, I'm getting cash, right? Here I'm getting all stock. So in order to lock in the spread, and I've read none of the documents, so I have no idea what the collars are, and there's going to be a collar on a stock deal as to the price range. But you're going to get paid in stock, which is great from a tax point of view. It's tough to set it up properly for a merger arb, okay? Because we're not getting paid in cash, and we're tied to the fluctuation of that stock. So it's based on $39.77 per Cadence share for a Huntington closing price of $16.07. So the amount that you're going to get goes up and down with Huntington stock, right? So you've got to short Huntington into the deal in the proper amount. So yeah, it's a good deal. Can you do it as just the arbitrage play? No, it's a little tougher unless you want to do, unless you've got a good borrow and can get the short. So that's just kind of the nature of merger arb.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the question. Again, I didn't want to get too far away from that.
We do a ton of stuff with this, and I will tell you, and I'm just going to throw it out there because knowing that none of you are going to do anything with it. In small banks, we see a lot of merger arbitrage deals, and they're lucrative. They're very cool because there's a lot of cash deals for these small banks, and if you can buy it at a discount to the cash, you got a higher probability of a close. And we've been known to dabble in that space a little bit. So now, before I run out of time, we're going to just see. Let's do one. Just go to the value, leave the dividend, take out quality, and put in value. And value at 9. Yeah, let's go value at 90. 80 works, but 90 is even better, right? And again, we've got APA, the oil and gas company that we talked about last night, Equinor, another oil and gas. You've got Mosaic. You've got Lincoln National, Matador Resources. So you're moving into a lot of energy and some shipping companies. So it's clearly a value cushioning strategy at this point in time is taking you away from the mainstream assets and putting you into the more beaten and battered asset classes, such as energy. So anyway, that's just one of the ways to replicate what they're talking about doing in this study. Trend following, you can just see the moving average right on your screen there in Pro, the 200-day. If the price of the S&P goes, or the Russell 2000, whatever your index is, put a hedge in place, right? And you leave it there as long as the index is under the 200-day. So they also go through a process in the paper that is very cool. And the instructions on how to do it are in the paper. We do not have time for it here, but basically you're shifting your portfolio to look at this by sectors and asset classes, and you're going to go long the 40% most negatively correlated factors to the market, and short the 20% most positively correlated to the market. This outperforms over long periods of time and actually has positive returns during most periods of market crisis. So that the step-by-step geeky instructions, they are in the paper. So, and then
I got to say, just really quickly, I love this APA chart. We actually talked about this yesterday with a guest and something entirely unrelated. This has a great looking inverse head and shoulders with a possible neckline break that we're challenging right now. The way I'm looking at APA here probably adds some shares, but also looking at the June 30 calls. Those are 145 by 198. You can probably get them close to 160. I think there could be a lot of punch in this chart. I'm bullish on energy going into 2026.
Okay. Yeah. So am I. I'm like,
okay, great.
2026 and way beyond. The nuclear catch-up it's real. It's also 4 to 5 years away, and the winners ain't who you think they are. Again, conversation for another day. Now, one more paper, Momentum Factor Investing, Evidence and Evolution. And this comes, it's from some guys at Northern Trust and some of his cohorts at the University of Erasmus University in Rotterdam over in Europe, who also work for Northern Trust Asset Management. This is a very cool paper if you are a geek like me. They went through 150 years of data and thousands of possible portfolio construction variations. And what we're looking at, does it work? Yeah, it works. And what's interesting is momentum works no matter how you measure it. And stop me if you've heard this before, Ryan. Fundamental momentum matters as much, if not more than just price momentum. Fundamental momentum in the study is best measured by analyst estimate revisions, which is clever. Those companies with the largest upward analyst estimate revisions are obviously showing fundamental momentum. So momentum does really well. The knock on momentum is, drum roll, momentum crashes. When the markets crash, momentum crashes hard.
Yeah.
So, you've got this strategy that since 1866, the end of the Civil War, has outperformed. I mean, it's a huge premium over, the passive index, and it works around the world. It works in emerging markets. Every country studied have positive momentum returns over this enormously long period of times. International markets also have momentum crash events. However, you can actually do something about figuring out when momentum crashes are about to happen. Now, momentum crashes are always, over 150 years, so we're going to go with always, preceded by a volatility spike. And the paper walks you through how to set up volatility scale. We use realized variance, which is not as hard as it sounds. The step-by-step is in this particular paper. It cuts max drawdowns in half and almost doubles the long-term rate of return by beginning to hedge or scale back your position sizing when we see the volatility scaling measured by realized variance, real volatility, what realized, not implied. You can really dramatically reduce the risk without sacrificing returns. Now, something all of y'all should have your ears pick up for, because I don't care if you're a trader or an investor or anything else. When you look at a momentum, one of the strongest factors in here is industry momentum. Okay, that's really strong, stronger than just broad-based market momentum. All right, so industry momentum combined with individual stock momentum, Value Line does it that way in their weekly wrap-ups, is huge. positive earning surprises and analyst revisions are monsters. Okay. So when you use those combined with other momentum factors, I mean, if I was going to sit down and build a perfect momentum model, which I've come close to doing, you know, industry momentum, company momentum, positive surprises, and positive analyst revisions, and you got yourself something. So we don't have time to run through that. We can do a lot of that actually
well, maybe we'll do that on another session when we have some more time, because that sounds great.
And the by the time Benzinga is done with the additions that are in development, we'll be able to do all of this.
Yeah.
But look, if you're really looking to beat the market, and this is not for your play around, I'm going to trade because my wife won't let me go to the racetrack, or my husband won't let me go to the racetrack, or whatever it is. But I like, to get in there, a little speculative sentiment, get the juices going, and I've got 10% of my assets trading. This isn't for that money. All right, this is for that 40% chunk of your money that really wants to not just beat the indexes but crush it. Right, without taking stupid time-weighted risks. Then building a momentum model using this paper is exactly the way to go. Now, while we're talking right here, I am going to copy the link for this paper and send it to you.
Okay, great.
Well, in fact, if anybody wants it, now you're Ryan's problem, not mine. Just send Ryan an email, and he will get you linked to it. It is a really, really important investor if you're a long-term growth-oriented, important paper, long-term growth-oriented investor. It's a very important paper, so you need to read that.
Okay. Tim, good stuff as always. You never disappoint. Good to have you back here.
All right. Listen, guys, we'll see you next week, and we will have our Army-Navy Christmas shirt. So not too many times you can get the only college football game that really matters and Santa Claus together in one shirt, but I've done it. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks a lot.
Tim, that's really good stuff. Take care of yourself. Have a great one. We will check in with him next week. Be well, as they said. That Tim's departure leaves room for 13. I tried to get that in. He was rolling. Let me see. Tim, do you like turbines?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, turbines are a good business going forward.
There's your answer, 13. Sorry, excellent. I couldn't get it in earlier. We got you on with
Love your shirt, by the way.
I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, look, gas turbines are going to be in all of the energy plants. There's uses for them in some of the data centers. This is a very quiet, like third level AI play, the large turbine business. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, real good stuff. Thanks, Tim. Take care of yourself. All right, 13. I'm gonna get you your answer come hell or high water. That's just how it goes. All right. Before we dive, first of all, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. Better than some of these movers are this morning. Really, I was listening to Tim and everything he was saying. It was great, but man, that shirt is next level. So I got to get me one of those.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what. Tim surprises even me with his shirt collection, and he does it often. Now, I know you said that the movers here not great today. Before we jump into that, let me cover Ondas, because I know that we just got a massive piece of news while the show was going on here. So I'm going to go through it a little bit. I haven't combed over it, but not really sure you need to here. Ondas Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary, the American Robotics, the autonomous drones, was selected as a prime contractor on behalf of a government entity. So this is extremely good news. I'm going to start with the chart here, and then we'll go in through some more of the news. And then 13, maybe we'll come back and get your opinion on the chart. I'd love that. First of all, this huge pullback, we had obviously the huge run up, the pullback from the 11 handle to the 5 handle that caused people to freak out and then criticize me for suggesting something that went more than 10x. LOL. This huge pullback really kind of reset a lot of what was going on there, and now this seems to really kind of be trading on its own news and its own fundamentals here. This is a really nice bounce that recaptured the 20, recaptured the 50. It's actually retested the 50 and held, which was also awesome. Now it looks like it's trying to break above 9. I got to be honest with you. If this stock breaks above 9, I think we see double digits very, very soon. And I would not be surprised if we challenge the all-time high pretty soon. And that is especially given some of the news here. Drones are clearly ramping. I showed you early on when Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, had his presentation where he was talking about drones and how they're going to expand, and Ondas, or American Robotics, were 2 of the 3 drones. I told you it was going to be a big deal then. It's still going to be a big deal. Now we're getting some more news here. Ondas wins a strategic government tender to develop and deploy autonomous border protection system with thousands of drones. Here's the one thing. So this is really good news. There's no numbers yet. They said here with initial drone purchase order anticipated in January. That's great, because I've been telling you for months now, we really want to see actual orders that result in revenue that bleeds down through the bottom line. That's really going to make this a compelling long-term trade. And it looks like that's what you're getting here. So no numbers yet. That's something that we can expect in January of 2026. This is all good. So I will give, when I have some more time later today, I'll read through this. Here's the other thing. I was poking around yesterday on some stuff on FinTwit. I tell you what, there's a lot of garbage on X, but there's a lot of people that do some really good research and uncover some really interesting things. And I suspect that one of the things that's going to happen here is that drones are going to be used in the 2026 Olympics pretty heavily for security purposes. And I would be entirely unsurprised if Ondas somehow was a major, major player in that. Look for that to be another leg up if we do, in fact, get that news. Forecast for artificial intelligence in drones is extraordinarily robust, with market projected to triple in value by 2030. This is all really good stuff. Sorry, day trader, I misspoke. I'm sorry. The 2028 LA one, that's the one that I was referring to. I got mixed up because the Winter Olympics start here in February in 2026. The one that I was referring to is the 2028 one in LA. I don't know. Maybe they will be used for the Winter Olympics here in 2026. We'll see. But nonetheless, really, really good news here. This is exactly what we were hoping. This is why I have a long-term view on this, and this is why I don't do a lot of short-term trading on this. My long-term view has been going, this has been a thesis that I've generated a long time ago. I've been working on it for a while, and it's starting to play out here. So I'm not going to run for the exits too early. Chart looks great. 13, you got any thoughts on the chart here?
Well, I have some thoughts on the company, because when you talk about how many drones we're going to end up seeing in the sky, I'm thinking to myself, man, that's going to be a lot of batteries. And that's
I love you tying it back to your battery theme.
And I think we're going to see batteries be really, really big next year. I know that we've been talking about lithium and other materials related to the battery manufacturing. While you were talking, I was just curiously looking to see where Ondas gets its batteries from, and fortunately, at least one of them are public companies. Amprius, which the ticker is AM. Let's see, I think it's AMPX. Yeah, AMPX. They manufacture batteries. With a combination of in-house manufacturing and some partnerships. They have an R&D lab in Fremont, California. They're planning on building a new gigawatt scale factory in Brighton, Colorado. They have a partnership with a manufacturer in South Korea, and they also have manufacturing partnerships in China. So they are getting a lot of different other battery materials and batteries from a lot of different places, including in-house. But that is a public company. That's a thing behind the thing for Ondas, if anybody's interested in that as a potential play on the batteries. I don't know if I've added this to my list or not, but it's going to be on there now.
Okay. All right. Really. Hey, that's even better, right? Leads to one of your themes. Michelle here is asking, hey, 13, did I miss the reason why you're sitting in the dark? Yeah, he's going goth. He's going goth.
Give me 1 second.
Look at the glow. I love that globe that he's got behind him. Okay. So really good stuff there on Ondas. IMC, the market is absolutely getting wrecked right now. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. What was recent? Don't have anything in here. I mean, we had the import prices, but none of this is moving it. We talked about the ADP report earlier. So
You had asked me about on this chart, and real quick. I mean, we
Yeah.
have like each handle is going to be a resistance area, and all you have to do is look to the left from 20 and look at 2021 and 2022 for where those levels are and how the prices interact with them in the past. So looks like if you drew it level at 9 and look back at 2021, you could see where 9 was coming into play as well as 10. But I think the big one we're going to want to pay attention to is just before 12. Because in November of 2021, we ran up there, and that was the last time we were up at that price until just recently in October this year. So we backed off that level. So it's about 1170, 1175. That's going to be a big level that we're going to need to break through. And the way that this pattern is shaping up here, we're either going to get one of two patterns as a result of this. It's either going to be a scallop, which we break through that 1170 area and just keep going, or we find resistance there and back off and create a cup with handle. So that would be the next two bullish patterns that we'd be wanting to look for here with ONDS.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff, folks. It looks like the news that's sinking everything was specific to Microsoft. And yeah, it's not good. Here we go. Microsoft lowers AI software sales quotas as customers resist newer products. This is a new piece of information, or excuse me, a new piece of news from The Information. Let me go ahead and link this story here. Oh, you know what? It's behind a paywall. You have to subscribe. Okay, maybe some of you are interested in that. I'm not trying to promote that. Here's the link nonetheless. But this is what's going on. Microsoft lowers AI software sales quotas as customers are resisting newer products. So I think the fear here is that maybe this is step one in the AI bubble popping.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either personally, but just judging by the way the market is behaving here, Microsoft is down 2%. SPY, or the S&P futures, which were up 0.25%, are now down 0.27%. Empyrean, shoot me an email and I will email that to you. I don't think I have a link for that, although let me check. So anyway, it is the Microsoft news. Oh, you know what? Here I do. Sorry. I'm trying to do two things at once. That's my fault. Sorry about that. Empyrean, here is the link to the paper there. So that's the news that seems to be thinking it will, or sinking it, excuse me. We'll see how the market actually responds to this when it opens up. It is worth noting Microsoft is staying above the 200-day moving average. And just to kind of go back to our SPY chart, which we were reviewing earlier, 680 right now, so we are actually still above the trend line. That to me is going to be pretty important for us to hold.
So we've talked about for some time now about how we expect Microsoft to come in more than this because they're in their fourth quarter of every year, their free cash flow goes out the window before it comes back up in the following quarter. So we expect this to come down, and some of the targets we were looking for here are down at around 440. So that's about the 500-day SMA, just above it. And we're also getting a really nice resolution of this double top that we had here, where we double topped at about 555 once in July, and then again just recently on October 29th, right before all the funds decided to dump this thing. And we're just getting a resolution of this. We went down to the 200-day SMA, got support from there. We're back testing the trough from the double top as resistance, and we're going to go lower and likely back down through the 200-day SMA. We're probably also going to lose 460. I think we are coming down to around the 440s where there could be much better support. And the
500-day moving average is right there at 438. So really good stuff. Okay, some anecdotal stuff for you on the back of this news. Zach here saying, we just swapped to all Google for my software company. When you say swapped, I'm assuming you mean swapped from Microsoft to Google-based products. And you said my dev team is much happier. Okay, that's good. Michelle saying, I don't think the AI bubble will pop until the effects of laying off workers is in place for some time. In other words, when people don't have money to buy things, that's when things are really going to get bad. I would agree with that. I'm just not sure if we're going to get there. And then Tyler said, if everyone is expecting and preparing for a bubble to pop, how the hell are we actually going to pop? And that's a really good point. If everyone kind of thinks that, I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
And that's the other thing. If everybody starts to get ready for that, and everybody that has a lot of money sees this, they're going to be like, well, let's squeeze everybody. Let's get this market a bit further. And I'm sorry, the light from my window keeps changing. It's cloudy today.
It's okay,
but
you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, Microsoft. I expect this thing to come back in, but this company is going to be just fine. It's it'll do better next year, and that's just I'm just waiting for the decline to stop, and I think around 440 we'll start to get our footing.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. All right, I know we spent a lot of time on this. We will come back. Ondas is bouncing. The market really isn't yet. SPY here down 679. It's doing its best to try and reclaim 680. We'll see if it's able to do that. But let's go through some of these movers and get you ready for it. I suspect it's going to be a good day here.
I don't know. It's kind of very
No.
list.
I didn't finish. It's going to be a good day to trade some of the bigger stocks here. I don't think the movers are going to represent some of the best moves here today, but nonetheless, we'll get you prepared for it. First one here is going to be KXIN. This is Kexin Holdings. This popped in the after hours yesterday, twice today. All three pops have been sold into. It's worth noting. We take a look here at the news. I don't think there was any news. I did look at this one earlier. Yeah. So yesterday, they acquire a Chinese online Smile or Ordinary Smile auto sales. So it looks like the Form 6 from last night is what was driving it higher here. With the securities announcing a securities purchase agreement. According to the filing, Caxton's wholly owned subsidiary, Zhengjing Caxton Auto, will acquire 100% of the equity target in Zhejiang Ordinary Smile auto sales. Obviously, I have no idea what's going on with this Chinese company making an acquisition. Stocks up 25.5% here. All three pops going back to yesterday were sold into. Keep that in mind. The last time the stock run got sold into pretty heavy as well. Short interest check on this. 1.84% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average volume of 264,000. Today it's traded 10 million plus. Float on this 22.1 million. 13, what do you think on this one? Good, bad, meh?
I think that we're at a spot right now where this is going to have to turn around, or we're going to fall out of the sideways consolidation that we've been in since the after hours yesterday. Just was looking at a couple of trends here, and if you draw a trend line on the underside of the price action we've got in the pre-market here, that kind of gives you a bit of an area where if we lose that, you can pretty much see how we're going to go lower. Up. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. If we lose that, we're going to have the 200 EMA right beneath it, and then under that is very little support. I think it would go right back to where we initially popped. So and when I was looking at this company, I really didn't see a whole lot on the financial side. Let me just go back to it. They didn't. It says they have $500,000 in cash. And I don't have a quarterly read on them.
Mm-hmm.
It says over the on an annual basis, where I'm assuming they report 2 times a year, they're losing $44 million a year. So they're going to need cash at some point. I don't have a whole lot else to add on this. Floats 22 million shares. I think we just need to see the 65 EMA in that trend line hold up so we can go back towards VWAP. But this is also in a bit of a longer term downtrend. I drew a trend line from the high on Monday because this was also moving on Monday, and drew through today's price action. We're still in a bit of a downtrend. So hopefully if we can recapture VWAP, we might be able to snap that.
Looks like we've really been in a downtrend since, right here, November 10th. Yeah. So
but I think that would be too big of a trend line to draw.
Yeah, no question. This thing split recently. So, okay, good stuff there. KXIN. Next here is going to be PMAX. That's PMAX. This is Powell Max. This did pop in the after hours yesterday. Did try to pop again here today, but boy, oh boy, it has been weak all pre-market here today. And let's see, what do we have here? Nothing.
There was an ownership change.
Yeah. Okay. So here it is. So this was yesterday. Actually, we had this yesterday morning, that SEC form with some ownership change here. So it's a controlling shareholder. So reporting that Proman Stella Luang, Poman, is his name really Poman? That's unfortunate. Poman Stella Luang is the controlling shareholder in the company, sold all issued shares of Bliss Unlimited to ECF Limited on October 30th. Apparently that's causing the stock to move up here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 3.57% with 1 day to cover. What do you think on the chart?
Chart this morning doesn't look great. Looks like we had a lot of the good moves earlier this morning and in the after hours yesterday. I don't know if Wisdom was looking at the stock. It hit a high of 420 and then reversed. So we'll see if that's anything he was interested in. It is currently getting some support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart, but volume really seems to have dropped off here. So if this falls underneath the 200 EMA, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. Looks like if we do get that loss of that moving average, 250 is about where I would think the support kicks in, if there's any.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. That's PMAX. Next here is going to be QCLS. This is QC Technologies. Stock was about 335, popped up to 440 here today. It's actually doing a good job staying above the VWAP. So unlike the last stock that we just took a look at, sorry, my cat's pissed about something.
This might go.
Sorry
to interrupt you. I just wanted to put that out there before the move happened because it looks like it's pretty imminent. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, it's all right. No news on this one. Stock's up 22%. 13 saying this is about to go, so giddy up.
It looks like it is. I don't want to guarantee it, but it's got that consolidation as if it's trading into a bull pennant. And we've traded this before. It's above VWAP, and it's trying to get above this 415, 420 area because I think that's what where it's potentially breaking out. We don't have really any closes above 420. Was this 421? We don't have any closes above 421. So that's kind of looking like a potential breakout spot. Because every time we've traded above this, we've been rejected. So looking at that, if we get the volume for it, I think we could break over that 421 and go on a bit of a run here.
Short interest on this name, 36.27%. So that maybe that helps with starting off the run there. You get a little bit of a short squeeze there. Only 1 day to cover on it. Average 100-day volume just under 1 million. Today we've done 6.3 million. Float here is 3.8 million. Okay. Yeah, anything else? I know you kind of just broke that down there, but
sorry to interrupt you because I just wanted to make sure I got it before it actually did something.
So you can make it. So it's a good call. That's smart.
It's because if it went and we're still talking about it, and I'd be like, well, you missed your opportunity to get some. But the thing that's interesting about this, I have levels from the last time we traded this. 385 is a support area from here. If you look to the left a little bit more, you can see how that was resistance in last week. And now this week we've broken above it. And as long as we hold above that 385, I think we could see some more upside. But right now, the current resistance, which I also have from last week, is at 440.
Okay. Okay, QCLS. Next one here is iRobot, ticker IRBT. Shares of robotic link stocks are trading higher after a political report said that the Trump administration is considering issuing an executive order on robotics next year. Seems pretty vague. iRobot popping here, though. This actually had a pretty decent day yesterday. I know we had this super spike here on Monday. What was that on again? Monday. iRobot says it's unlikely that ongoing review of strategic alternatives will result in any transaction being consummated outside of a bankruptcy process. Now it says it's unlikely to have ongoing review of strategic and will result in any transaction being consummated outside of a bank. That I don't know. I mean, that seems bad to me. Stock spiked nonetheless. Had an all right day yesterday. Looks like it's popping here up by 17.5%. Short interest on this one is gigantic. 45.2% of the float shorted with 1.62 days to cover. It is notable that the days to cover has come in a little bit as the average volume has continued to increase over the past couple of prints, but still very, very high. In fact, it looks like shorts have kind of piled onto this one. This to me looks like a short squeeze. 250, absolutely an upside level. 13, what do you think on this one?
I think you're right. This is getting squeezed here, and I think that's also the reason why it's up more than other robotics companies like Rich Tech. That's also up on this news. So I don't know if we're going to see some big moves in the robotics sectors today as a result of this news. Don't know if the executive order on robotics is going to be good or bad. But you're kind of alluding to there might be some bad news in this move. So we'll have to wait and see. Sorry, as far as the chart goes, this morning we did go up to 244, and it looks like we were about to roll over, but we're still above VWAP. And as long as we hold above that, and go sideways, we can find the stock can find its footing and try to push higher. But I think This one is looking a little weak going into the open. So I'd probably just be cautious and wait to see what this does once we open.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Rich Tech Robotics moving on the back of that, although that's pulling off or pulling back. Sorry.
And that QCLS, we got to have volume in this thing in order to get through that level that I was talking about. Right now, it's just not looking like the volume's right there. But let's see what happens out of the open. But it looks like this has been consolidating pretty much all morning since the news came that put it up to 449. So just keep that in mind with that QCLS. Got to have volume in order to get the moves we're looking for.
Okay, good stuff. Poet is next on the list here. That's POET. This is trading up on no news here. Pretty good formation here. Volume is actually expanding as we go into the open, about $5.50 here. Taking a look at the short interest, 9.1% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That's on an average volume of 9.8 million shares. Done it's done 2.2 million here today. Float's pretty big though, 131 million on this name. 13, you got any thoughts on the chart here? And while you give those, I'm actually going to step away for 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Sure. Let's see what this one does. Well, this one has some nice movement into the open here. I'd be a little bit concerned about there being some selling with this rise into the open, but we're still above VWAP. We have some other longer moving averages coming up to meet it. That's usually a good sign of this going higher. Let me look at the daily chart because we're kind of near the pre-market highs of 544. Let's see what we have here on the daily chart. So we're past the 200 EMA on the daily chart. We're still underneath the 65 EMA on the daily chart. So I think that's going to be a spot we're going to want to watch for. And interestingly, 575 looks to be about an area where there's been resistance previously back in August. So I think that's going to be the next resistance area for me. It's going to be that 65 EMA on the daily chart, and then looks like 575. So right in that same area, we could find some resistance. Now, if we get through that, next resistance levels I see beyond the two that I mentioned, 625, 675, and 715. Next upside resistance levels for Poet, P-O-E-T. QCLS, you guys are mentioning that finally do something.
Really good timing. I just got back and it went right up to the top. So you got it in there before it moved, buddy.
Perfect. Just wanted to make sure. I had to get that out there because I didn't know when this was going to start making moves. It looked like it was setting up to make something like this. We just needed to get that volume component. Finally got it. And here we are, new high.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Volume pushed us up to those highs. Let's see what it does out of the open here. Really good stuff. By the way, market is bouncing from that pullback that we got on the Microsoft headline.
And it looks like several people caught that. So well done, folks, on your trade there with QCLS.
Hey, interrupting was the right move, 13. How often do we say that? It worked. It made people money. No looking back.
How often do we say interrupting is the right move? I never say that.
Hey, look at this. Here you go.
Excellent. That's what I'm talking about. I wanted to see stuff like this.
Yeah, this is why we do this, folks. That is awesome. Awesome stuff.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So for QCLS, the next level that I have here, because this is when we traded before, $5. That's the next level I have marked off. So
okay,
we'll see if we get it.
Next one I have here. This one's easy. I'll go to that next. How much time do we have? All right. Next one on the list here is AEO. We talked about this. This is American Eagle Outfitters. This is Sydney Sweeney. Say no more. Stock, it popped here after earnings this morning in the pre-market. We actually retested that high. This would be a key level here. See if there's some profit taking. Wouldn't be terribly shocked to see that. A quick peek at the daily chart. Here we go. You have some more upside levels outlined by the 2024 highs before this thing really kind of came back in. Huge move higher. Did you have anything on this one, or can we take a quick look at CMCT?
We can take a quick look at CMCT.
Perfect.
This is also getting a move off of the not the earning, only the earnings, but high short interest as well.
Okay, CMCT. This is Creative Media. This popped here in the pre-market on some substantial volume, but that volume has bled back, and so too has the price. It's exactly mirroring that. We're under the VWAP. Looks kind of weak here. Let me see if there was actually news on this one. No. Yesterday morning, they completed 1915 Park, a 36-unit apartment building in Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. We had that news out yesterday in the morning, so I think this pop is unrelated to that. Nonetheless, we popped. 550 is the high. We rejected. We came back in. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. I know we're running out of time here. 8.77% of the float shorted. Any thoughts on this one?
I don't have any thoughts on the chart. It doesn't look like it's very good. Maybe we get a lift here after we open and recapture VWAP. But the thing that I'm wondering, because this is an office REIT, I thought I caught some news about some, I want to say Snapchat. I thought it was that CEO or maybe some other one that was talking about getting more people back into the regular 5-day work week where they come into the office. So I don't know if that had any bearing on this, but that's the only thing I can think of that caused this to move when we have a situation like this with no news.
Okay, good stuff. I'm going to click over to the main workspace. We are about to open.
All right. And there we are.
Hey, there it is. That was pretty good timing. Pretty good timing. All right.
Fantastic. All right. Let's see here. So QCLS, that popped up to as high as 462. We're coming back here to this 440 area where it was previously resistant. So there might be support here if there's going to be any more left in QCLS. And there we go. So we just came back here to test that support, and we're off. We're looking for $5 next as the resistance target here. We're at 477, getting a lot of selling into this strength, and it's pulling as well. So this is the kind of stock it looks like to me where we don't want to stick around in it too long. So if you're getting your gains, make sure you're paying yourself on the way up. Say thank you very much, and we'll move on to something else. Let's see, iRobot, that dropped out of the gate and then it's trying to recover. Let's see if that can reach 244, which is the pre-market high. Poet is going down. And then KXIN, that's trying to recapture the VWAP. Volume doesn't look great there. It's pretty low. PMAX, I'm seeing nothing happening here with this at the moment. Another low volume name here.
Pure Storage, which we talked about earlier, this is actually breaking down. It's taking out the low from yesterday, so it looks like some more downside here. PSTG.
And thank you very much for confirming that for me, day trader. It was Instagram, so I think that could be a reason why creative media was going. I don't know if it is the reason, but the talk about returning to the office for a 5-day work week, I think would bode well for office REITs. Just my imagination, maybe.
Cut.
And I was just traded Rigetti there because this is looking. If we're going to see weakness in tech, then I'm always going to start looking over at RGTZ and what that's doing. So that provided a nice trade out of the gate there. This could continue. RGTZ could go up higher, but really just pay attention to what tech is doing, and I think and also what RGTI is doing, and you'll be able to get your trades in RGTZ with a little bit more. With an easier effort, I would say. I think it'd be easier if you just follow what the tech is doing and what RGTI is doing for.
Speaking of that, so tech bounced a little bit. It looks like that bounce got sold into, but it is still resuming. SPY, same deal. So it looks like tech is in fact trying here.
Mm-hmm. And here we go with QCLS. We're on the doorstep of $5, 492, 493 now. We're almost there, folks. What a
Ondas,
great move.
big pull off that. Sorry to interrupt here. It's a huge pull on Ondas. Look, we've seen this with a lot after they give some of the news. Let's wait it out. Let's see if this bounces. It has the last couple of times. Another reason why the short-term trading here for me, I generally just stay away from it because I have a long-term view on that. Now, QCLS, let me load that up here.
Yep. All right, well, we're through 5 now. 510 is the current high. This could continue going. There's a seller that we're up to right now. When we might, if we can't get through it, we might halt right here. And if that happens, here's the next targets to the upside: $6, $6.85, and and then $9. Those are the next upside targets I have from here. So out of this halt, when this unhalts, it'll probably be in about 5 minutes if it's a regular one. This is. We're going to want to see 5 hold the price up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen out of the halt here. We could pull and go back under 5, or we could gap and continue up towards 6. But whatever happens, just keep those resistance and support areas that I've mentioned on your chart, and we'll be able to find out where we're going to be able to get entry here.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Tesla.
Hey, Peter, no problem. I hope you made some good money on that. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. Tesla here. Massive call sweeps coming. Tesla had a nice move right off of the open there. They actually went above the pre-market high and pulled a little bit, but Tesla back on now here. So pretty volatile here for Tesla.
Do they like the robot executive order news? Because they make robots, apparently.
Yes. In fact, the Benzinga Pro telling us here, shares of robotic-linked stocks, including Tesla, are trading higher after the Politico report said that Trump is considering an executive order on robotics. Yes, it looks like that is also doing it. AEO, this little dip here looks like this is trying to bounce here. So a nice little pullback that actually gave some pretty good entry. I'd look for a break above 24. If we get 24, I would say 24.20 next. Maybe we have 25 in sight here. That's AEO. Marvell is being mentioned here in the chat. Let's take a look at that.
That was pretty wild because when we got the earnings report, this thing initially dumped. But then the conference call started, and there was a lot of really good talk in there about what's going on with the future of this company, and that reversed all the price action and sent it up over 100 in the after hours. Now, we've since come back underneath the 100, but we're trying to find our footing here. Looks like, let me go to my broker's chart here. It looks like we are trying to come down to a support area. So we are at the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, trying to get some support from there, but we do have all the EMAs, the other EMAs and VWAP above it. So might need some more time to recover. I think if this comes down to around 94, somewhere between 93 and 94, you might get a lot better support in that area. And then we can, look towards recapturing 100 and going to triple digits again.
Okay. Okay, we'll see where the bounce is on Marvell. As far as ONDS goes here, let's take a quick peek at that. ONDS, so here's the big pullback. Looks like it stopped here about 773. I think 780 was the level we were talking about yesterday that it really needed to hold. If we take a look at the daily chart here, where would I like this to hold? Here today, probably the 773, right? Our 9 EMA is in fact 773. We basically did hold that already. So looking pretty good here on that hold. We'll see if this has some strength to maybe cut back into that bounce. But this basically just a move down to the 9 EMA on the daily. What I see there.
We're getting a lot of mentions here about Capricorn Therapeutics at CAPR. This thing is up over 500% after they reported top line phase 3, HOPE 3 trial results that evaluated dermiocell cell therapy for the Duchenne muscular dystrophy and met its primary endpoint and secondary cardiac endpoint. So phase 3 results, that's great. This thing also has a really high short interest. So and with a lot of days to cover. So I think you're also getting this outsized move with that component of this company as well. Let's look at their cash because that's going to be important going forward now.
And really quickly, let me just jump in here. My turn to interrupt you. AEO out here on that bounce. Bang.
All
Thanks,
right.
Sid. Thanks, Sid. We'll take it. All right, let me go back to CAPR here. You can finish that off. I have no active day trades on the board here. 1 for 1 on the day with AEO on that bounce.
Fantastic. The company does appear to have enough in short-term investments that they can convert to cash, but their cash position is currently not enough to maintain their cash burn rate, which looks to be about 25 million a quarter. So probably going to end up having to either rotate out of those short-term investments, raise capital, or make it some kind of offering. So something to be careful about when it comes to Capricorn. If this is truly what their cash position is, then they're probably going to have to do something about that in order to keep operations going. And I also don't know what else they've got going on for clinical trials, so that's also going to eat into their cash as well. I would make sure that if you're trading this, if you've got a position in this, that you're making sure you're getting yourself paid. Let's look at the daily chart because
real quick here, 13. Wow. Dara here saying I mentioned on CAPR a few times before the in the chat before the open. The CEO lied about their data on the call this morning. Oh. I smell prison. Now I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know. It's not a stock that I follow, but that's wild. That's the
Yeah.
case.
So as I was about to get to, make sure you're paying yourself way up.
No, that like I'm saying, that's pretty good advice there. Dara here saying I follow a few biotech guys on X, so I actually follow a couple too. Some of those guys are really, really sharp, and this is not my wheelhouse, so I often have to lean on others that are smarter than me. So I totally get it, Dara. I appreciate that mention.
Mm-hmm. And if there's going to be any more upside to this move here with Capricorn, I would think that there's probably not going to be a whole lot more upside beyond 42 to 44. That looks to be, if I look to the left here, we're back in 2014 and 2015. Those are some areas where the price could not recapture, and we continued lower and have been lower ever since that time. So that's kind of where I think I'd be at least paying myself. If you have a much longer term, trade or investment for this, and you think this is going higher, don't let me disrupt that. But just based on this move here, we're getting over 530%. I think I'd be paying myself.
Okay. Good stuff there. Zeal, I can't answer risk management questions for you, boss. I have no idea what your risk profile is. That's something that I think you're going to have to figure out on your own. You're asking about putting a trailing stop at 2 times the ATR in a whole asset. To me, all my stops depend on the individual name. I don't have any blanket rule like you're asking about. So I'm sorry about that, man. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to help you with that. Jay Rice mentioned a lot of green in retail here. We saw that on the AEO bounce too. Also, you guys were mentioning Netflix is getting shellacked here. Netflix down 3 points out of the open, down about 4.5%. I thought this was moving initially with the regular market. Let me see if there was any more news on this one.
People are mad they have to wait for volume 2 of Stranger Things until December 25th. Or I think it's 24th. It's later this month, but people are not happy they have to wait. KXIN, this did have a nice move off of the 65 EMA, that bottom trend line that we drew. It's trying to come back up to where it found resistance earlier in the pre-market. So as it gets to about 435, I think this thing is going to probably run into some trouble. But we'll see what happens here. The volume isn't great. I'm not expecting major things out of this one, but so far it's recaptured VWAP, and it's trying to get back up to some of the other levels it was at earlier this morning where it found resistance.
So yesterday, Reed Hastings, I guess, sold some options.
Oh,
I don't know. He still owns 21 million shares, but it looks like he sold some options worth about 36 million bucks.
Well, maybe it's going to 100, like I've been.
You've been waiting that out for a while, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And and if you look at the daily chart, what's about to happen here this week? What is this?
The Death Cross?
The Death Cross.
Oh, how about that?
So I expect that this will come back in some more. It's been on a massive run for almost 2 years now. And I don't think this is a bad company or anything. It's probably one of the better companies in the entertainment media business. But this thing doesn't look like it's got a lot of strength up here. We're getting some indicators that this is coming in lower. If we don't hold up 100, I'm thinking maybe $90 is going to be next.
Okay. All right. QLCS, is this resumed?
Yes,
it has. 550 looks like your high 550, 568. Beg your pardon. It was actually higher than that.
568. We're trying to hold above that $5 level right now. And if it does, then I think we're going to potentially see that $6 print. So let's just see what we get here. If we can hold that $5. This could just be both flagging on us. And even if we don't hold $5, there's still VWAP that could help with the formation of this candle. But losing VWAP would, I think, probably be the line in the sand. If we can't do that, then this thing, we're going to just want to take off our screens and look elsewhere. Also, large seller in the way at 508. Oh,
okay.
They just moved that up to 520.
Okay, so those levels above 5, that seems to be where that seller is going to be. MSTR, I'm noticing here on my scanner. I'll take a look at the chart when I can get that resolved. MSTR, another dip by bounce. This is actually higher than yesterday's intraday high. This has actually been a pretty good trade recently. No position on that one, unfortunately. Also notice that AEO might be trying to set new highs here. I'm not in it. I'd rather buy weakness as opposed to trying to buy one of these breakouts. I feel like I'm going to get slapped a little bit if that happens. But AEO trying to break out from that after hours high print that it put in yesterday post earnings.
Veggie Girl, hello. No, not Death Cross for the whole market, just Netflix.
Yeah,
That's what
and
we're
the
looking
market, by the way, that I can actually put it on screen here, although I'm sure all of you folks are looking at it. That market pull, that really nasty pull that we had, we've retraced about 40% of that so far. So we'll see. This actually, by the way, look where this ended. Not a coincidence that this thing really kind of held yesterday's low, and that's right around 680, which I gave as a key level earlier today. By the way, folks, just given some of these big moves that we're seeing here, the Tesla sweeps. Remember, we got a segment coming up later today with Liz and Jenny from TastyLive. They're going to be joining us directly from the floor of the CBOE. We're going to ask them about option trades, what they see. You're going to show their broker a little bit. So if you're looking for a new one or you're looking to graduate from Robinhood, we got something for you here today.
Yeah, that's 680. Really big spot of support and resistance.
Indeed.
With the SPY. So if we can hold up 680 here, then we need to get that move over 684. That has been a big level that really nobody's keeping an eye on, because we've only had 3 closes above 684, despite printing all the way up as high as 689.70. Only 3 closes. And the last time that we and the only time that we've actually had those 3 closes were the first 3 times, and it led to more upside. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here. If we can start closing over 684, I think we come back up to the all-time highs.
Okay. Moto Guru is asking, how much weight do you give the extended hours trading? I'll be honest with you, I don't give it all that much. Like when I talk about closes, I want to see the close of the New York session. I don't want to say never, because I have occasionally, but I rarely even trade in the extended sessions. And I rarely trade in the extended sessions for more than like a scout. You know what I do buy in the extended sessions? Sometimes you'll get a little bit of overextension in either direction on things like some of these ETFs that we trade back and forth, like SOXL or SOXS. And occasionally I'll add or initiate a position in the after hours, but otherwise I try to avoid it completely. And what I care more about for the candles and technical analysis is what's done in the New York session. And yes, thank you, producer. It is 10:25 Eastern for Liz and Jenny.
All right, looks like Marvell's trying to come back up to where it was getting support earlier in the pre-market. So this could be a resistance area unless we get enough volume to push through, in which case we're going to have to see the other side of 103.50 to get through this sideways consolidation that led us into the open here. CMCT, that's trying to recapture the 65 EMA. I think this needs to see more volume. Poet is having trouble holding above its VWAP. I'm not sure I necessarily like the way this looks. I think the 65 EMA is at risk of losing support. iRobot had a nice big candle that took it all the way up to 274, and then it is backed off, but we're still above VWAP. So as long as we hold above that, we could see some more upside. Looks like Rigetti is potentially setting up to go lower. We'll see if that ends up happening. QCLS, we did get that move through the VWAP to the downside, so that might be over for the moment. If this area where we got support earlier this morning, 438 doesn't or 440, if this doesn't hold up, this is probably done for the day. Then, this already had a really big move, came back in, gave back all that greatness that it took through the VWAP. And now we're beneath VWAP trying to get support from earlier. So I don't know if this one's done yet, but I think if we do lose 440, that we could probably just move on to something else. Okay.
Good breakdown there. You guys are asking, why is Ondas selling off any news? Yes, they had some good news here today. It didn't have any numbers, but they're basically, their subsidiary was selected as a prime contractor on behalf of the government. So we expect that to be really good news. The one thing I will say about today's action when it comes to Ondas, we see this a lot. There's a huge retail group of folks that are trading this. There's a bunch of people that are extremely negative on Ondas and think that it's not actually doing all of the things that it's doing. So you're likely seeing a lot of battle there. When we've seen some of these, we saw a pullback yesterday morning out of the open, frankly. I'll show this to you. We saw a pullback out of the open yesterday that immediately bounced and ended up going higher. Now, I'm not promising that we're doing the same thing here today. Here's the pullback that we saw yesterday. Stock immediately bounced and went higher. Seeing another pullback here today. This is basically right to where we opened yesterday. Give it some time here. I think there's a lot of active traders on this. So when you get news drops, I would expect volatility pretty much every time. The news that came out today is good, though. I view it as good news. Marcus is saying all the other drone stocks are down, so it seems like it's trading in sympathy there. Still, long-term good news here.
Drone stocks have been wild. I think they kind of need to cool off a little bit.
And that wouldn't be bad either, 13. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, just let profits get taken, and then once we get some good news or sentiment changes and it starts to go up, well then, hey, we're in business.
You got it, Rags. I could not find the conference info under the BZ events for tomorrow. So is this you mean the morning report? The events here are in the company events. Tomorrow's the 4th. They're all in here, it looks like. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, Samel, but it looks like they're there. Are you looking for a specific conference about a specific stock? That might help.
We're starting to get some recovery in some of these names here. Marvell is just over 100 a moment ago, testing the 65 EMA again. That came right back to VWAP. CMCT, this is moving through its 65 EMA on its way up to VWAP. Poet trying to get over its VWAP. iRobot coming back up to this 274 high here in the regular session, trying to go higher than that as well. QCLS still trying to get back over the VWAP. I'm not sure how much strength this one has left, and its volume is starting to decline a lot. And then KXIN, this thing is just not done a whole lot today. A lot of sideways price action as it consolidates in this triangle pattern.
This QCLS right there at VWAP.
Mm-hmm.
Marvell, by the way, still kind of flirting with this $100 level, 13. It's like dipping beneath it, reclaiming it. So we'll see there on Marvell. IREN getting mentioned by Frozen King here. IREN had another offering. Frozen King saying, I love buying post offerings on IREN. Look at that. So we had a dip here in the pre-market. This is actually firmed up a little bit here, about $42. Not a bad bounce here on IREN, honestly.
Yeah, sometimes when you have one of these names that has a lot of attention paid to it or previously paid to it, and they drop these offerings, he's right. Those post offering moves can snap back pretty quick, especially if it's a name where folks have been paying attention to it, traded it before. So this is it's a great idea, and I'm glad it worked for you.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea. And is he saying that ACHR is strong?
Archer.
So this is trying to recapture the 20-day SMA. We are actually right at it right now. 791 is the 20-day SMA. That's where we're at. We're actually just moved up to 793. So trying to get over it. We'll see how we close today. What we don't want to see is we have a looming death cross here that we probably might end up getting next week if the price doesn't come back up a little bit more here.
And you know what, dude? This, man, if you do get that death cross and that impacts this, I could see this kind of rolling over. Almost looks like this bounce is just kind of a dead cat. I don't know what's exactly going to happen here, but I could see this rolling over again, retesting some of those lows if we get that.
And well, the 520 level has been a big support and resistance level for me in this stock, going back to 2021. In October of that year, we got initial support, a bounce that took it back up to like 775. And then after that, it came right back down through that level in January the following year in 2022. Stayed underneath that level for quite a while, for a couple of years almost, or over a couple of years actually, before we finally had a breakout through it in 2023. Didn't stick around too long because we were right back underneath it in January of 2024. But then in November of 2024, we broke through that and we have not gone underneath it since. So I think 520, if we do come down there, that's going to be a big spot of support, a big area of support for me.
Okay. Zach here saying, Archer, you play the hype. It will not be profitable for like 10 years.
I don't know about 10 years, but you're right. It's not going to be profitable for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this, they don't have revenue right now. They're constantly raising capital because it's expensive to manufacture these. They have a manufacturing facility, I believe, out in Georgia, and Stellantis is helping them with that. Now, I don't know about 10 years with it, if it's going to take that long to be profitable, but you're absolutely right. They are not profitable right now, and they have a long road ahead of them, or I don't want to say blue skies, but they have a long road ahead of them.
Okay. All right, what else we got for like short term? How's QCLS doing? I almost butchered the ticker there. Marvell flashing a little bit more weakness, looking like it's kind of struggling with that $100 recapture level. QCLS, this is now moving towards the lows here. Actually, might break the 450 area. That was one of the key spots you had, right? 13,450.
Let me go back to it. They're still mentioning the Olympics, the 2020. Is it 26? I thought it was at 28. I thought it was 2028. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was 2028 and the 2026. Let me look this up.
2026 should be the World Cup.
World Cup, and then also the Winter Olympics, February 2026 in Italy. 440
is the support level I have for QCLS. We lose that, I think we just want to look at something else. But they are going to be featured a lot in the Olympics. Ferrying Olympians to and from their events. I don't necessarily think that's going to suddenly make them profitable. If anything, they're probably going to lose money on that event, as every participant typically does. Every company that participates in that. So I think that's going to really get the message out about them. But I think we're already going to see these things in the sky before then. I expect to see these things in my own skies out here in Texas starting sometime next year.
If you do see that 13, can I make a request? Can you please take a
photograph?
Just let me know. I want to see what that looks like here. And yeah, just to be clear here, we did get to the bottom of this. Day trader, we did this earlier when I screwed it up the first time. Winter Olympics are 2026. That's in Italy. Summer Olympics 2028. That's in LA. The World Cup also in 2026.
And I think they mentioned why they did that, but I don't have the PR if there was one in front of me. But my understanding is that's going to be one of the sites where they're going to be testing a lot of their aircraft. I don't know if it's going to be one of the eventual vertiports. It might be, but I think they bought that airport because they wanted a better testing facility. Now, I think Archer has been making some pretty good moves. It could be a really big thing in the future, but as we've been talking about, and their profits being further out, the high costs associated with getting these things literally off the ground, it's going to take some time. And buying an airport's one of those steps to making the company go forward with their profitability. Here we are with QCLS potentially losing that to the 440 area. Great trade out of the gate there, but this is going to probably need some time if it's going to do anything later on the day. So
real quick, I'm also seeing Tiny Pie here saying Spain has been using drones for traffic violations since 2019. Yikes, that kind of sucks. A drone-induced traffic ticket? That would make me upset. Also, by the way, I don't know if there's a trade around this, but this was kind of viral news, if you will, when it happened 10 years ago. I'm interested in the story and how it resolves. Maybe if you guys can think of a way that there could be a trade about this, but we're seeing here news, Malaysia is set to resume search for missing flight MH370, which went missing a decade ago, with Ocean Infinity starting deep sea operations on December 30th. So again, I'm not sure that there's necessarily a trade there. That's just something that was in the zeitgeist. That was just a very, very odd story. I want to hear a resolution to that. So just thought I'd mention that, seeing that come across the wire there.
That's some pretty interesting stuff. I was just reading some of the chat here about the drones in Spain. To me, that doesn't seem like that's really a whole lot different from traffic cams.
Yeah, it seems very similar. He's saying that they watch you for speeding, dangerous driving, or distracted driving, aka using the phone. That's the one, like speeding I got kind of a lead foot too. Sometimes the speed limits are merely suggestions. But what I will say there is that the phone thing, I'm surprised people still use phones in cars. There's so much tech integration to allow you to do things hands-free. You can plug your phone into a lot of newer cars now, and you get almost all of the functionality. I don't get that one. Don't drive distracted, folks. Don't look at your phone while you're driving.
Yeah, if you try to call me and I'm driving somewhere, I won't answer you until I get to where I'm going.
I will, because I can literally press a button on my steering wheel, and I hear it in the car, and I keep two hands on the wheel. I can actually see who's calling in the heads-up display, so I keep my eyes on the road. But but like actually using the phone, putting it in your hand, no, you're taking your eyes off the road. You're taking your hand off the steering wheel. None of that's good.
Make good decisions, everybody.
Yeah, make good decisions.
All right, let's see. We're getting some new highs here in iRobot, 285 now.
That's IRBT, right?
Poet actually managed to pop up to 552, but it's come right back in. Still not sure about this one. It looks like it's trying to go higher, but we get these like pockets of volume pops here, and I just don't know when we're going to get the next one. I just don't know about Poet. It moves so slow.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, with iRobot here, this is actually a nice move to maybe book some gains and sell into that. Quite honestly, day trader here saying, I witnessed a near head-on collision where the driver admitted to not seeing the red light due to looking at his phone. Dude, that I apologize for the language here, but that shit scares me a lot. You can be a really good driver, and some moron that's just not paying attention can drastically alter your life or that of your loved. That stuff just scares me. Glad both people walked away.
Rest stations. Rest stations are when you want to travel a while and you're like, yeah, I've been driving for 6 hours. I should probably pull over first.
Stretch the legs, man. Get the blood flowing. I totally get that one. Some of those rest stops that have great vistas where you kind of overlook the scenery, those are my favorite. Actually, I know I smack talk California a lot, but on the roads in California that I've been on, there are a lot of those really scenic views where there's a rest stop that's worth stopping just to take pictures. Absolutely love that.
iRobot looking for 295. If it gets up there, that's going to hit the 65-day EMA. We got pretty close to that before we backed off, but we did end up going to the low from October 30th. I think that's where we almost exactly where we stopped. So that was 294 was the low that day. The high today is 292, so just a couple cents away. But still think that 65 EMA could be a big resistance area. Lots of sellers in that area too.
Haven't seen anything crazy on the unusual options here. The only thing that was really notable came earlier was all those Tesla sweeps, and that was when Tesla was making that huge move out of the gate. Haven't seen anything totally interesting since then. Did have a recent one here on Amazon. Looks like there were multiple call buys, each of them over $500,000. These are for, here, let me go back to that. Amazon, these are for the June expiry, 240, 245. That actually almost looks like a spread. Wonder if that was Anne-Marie Pro trade there. It looks like 245, the upside target there, Amazon. So Amazon also looks like it held 231 here on that pullback. Hood showing up on this. What's Hood doing today? Hood, another nice bounce. So we did have a couple of nice bounces. By the way, with Marvell, I know we kind of rolled over after flirting with that $100 level. So far here, though, we look like we're holding the intraday lows here. Got that at about $98.
Yeah. You guys mentioning Oklo. I'm looking at the chart, and I have concerns about the upside with this from here. I'm not saying it can't do it, but I just am a little bit worried. If you have this on your daily chart, I think you still have the trend line. We've lost that trend line. We lost it on November 20th, and we've been trying to recapture it ever since. The 20-day SMA is also going to be some resistance. So I would need to see this start printing back above 98. If I was going to have any confidence in where in Oklo going back to the upside. So that's kind of where I'm at with Oklo. As Lion was just saying, this is not profitable yet. I think that the idea here with this one is that it's going to be great in the future when the nuclear reactors start getting built and turned on. But that's still a ways away. So we could see some more downside in the interim. But Kramer said sell, so we should buy it, right? I get what you're saying,
I made a joke. You know what? I may have taken the genie out of the bottle on that 113. My opener yesterday was, if you've ever waited for Kramer to say something so that you can do the opposite, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, though, folks.
Remember the whole thing about a broken clock. So that's kind of where I would land with that. He could be right about this coming in, but he also could easily be wrong, as he is usually. So I or late. But anyway, I would just be careful with Oklo. I don't know that we're necessarily coming back up yet. I think that I would still want to see what I was mentioning earlier, a recapture of the $20 or $98. That would give me some confidence that we're going to see some more upside. But right now, we're struggling to recapture a trend line that goes back to the beginning of the year. So I remain cautious on this one, and I don't want to touch it right now.
Kramer allegedly said not to subscribe to your channel, guys. Let's be a good human. You know what to do. We got to go inverse Kramer. Everyone needs to like and subscribe. Okay. Also, SPY here. So broader market, we are bouncing back. We have now retraced about 60% of that down move. Matt's asking, Microsoft is getting smashed again. Is there anything on this? Yes, that was the big news that actually sent the market down earlier. Here's the Microsoft chart. This is actually starting to bounce a little bit. The news here on Microsoft, though, was that AI, it's getting resisted here. Let me actually read you the exact headline here. Where are you? Microsoft lowers AI software sales quotas as customers resist newer products. This was per the information. I'll give you that exact article, Matt, if you want to go through that. But that's why Microsoft is under pressure here today.
MSTR.
What?
MSTR.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're not.
You're right. MSTR just it started to get a big move off the 65 EMA. It's pushing higher, looking for a break over the highs of 190.44. So just thought I'd mention it out there because it looks like it's starting to make a move up towards 190 here.
This has been a good trader. That's kind of why I was joking about you're not being sorry interrupting me. This has been a great. I traded this yesterday, and the corresponding ETFs for this one.
That's probably true, Zach. I'm mostly just giving him a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the reality. This is the way I look at Kramer. First of all, I'm someone that I try to make my own investment decisions anyway. I like taking little tips from you guys when we're discussing stuff here as a community, and I do that with the other communities that we have here through Benzinga as well. But the reality is that this guy's been in this business for a long time. His resume is quite good. I don't have a fraction of his resume. So take everything I say about that with tongue in cheek. I'm again, basically just joining the zeitgeist. The guy's been incredibly successful.
Looks like QCLS was the one to avoid after we had that move. So after that loss of 440, I think we pretty much got our answer that this thing was coming in further. Now it looks like it is getting some support. So maybe later on today, we do see this turn around and try to move back up again. But I think for going into the time of the day where we lose volume, as people leave the market, I think this is something we're just going to want to wait out to see if there's going to be a trade later.
Except for his Eagles calls. That's right, Tiny Pie. You got that right, buddy. You got that right. That reminds me. Might as well enjoy it. I'm just going to let it marinate a little bit. That's all. Okay, that's good.
See, I think that's see Buffalo. I think that's a little bit more accurate. I don't know about no. Actually, I stand by what I said. I think you're right about that. It's more. I think it's more entertainment.
FTRE Jay here saying FTRE Jay got the ticker wrong. LOL. Been my next Coco had a fireside chat at the city conference yesterday. Must have went well. Nice move here out of the open on FTRE. I didn't see any news from that call or anything. Let's see if we've got anything here in pro on that.
That was a nice formation over the past a couple of trading weeks. From November 20th, this went up and started forming a bull flag. And now we're resolving it to the upside. We're coming up to some consolidation that could provide some resistance, and that's going to start at looks like about 1460. 1460 could be the start, and you just have to look to where we were in February, where we had this consolidation. That's where we're coming up to. I think we could see some selling in that area from about 1460 to 1585.
Okay, I don't see anything coming out from that fireside chat, Jay, so not sure, but I would say looking at the price, you're probably right on that. QCLS, by the way, look at this, under 4. You were right on that call too. Thing lost the VWAP. There's been nothing there since.
Yeah, it is in this consolidation area where. Thank you. It is in the consolidation area from the pre-market this morning. So this is a bit of a demand zone. I just want to wait and see if it's going to actually hold up or if it's going to continue lower. But like I said, it's certainly one to keep on your radar for if you're looking for something to trade later on today. Maybe this does provide a better setup than it has right now, and you can make a trade out of it. But right now, I'm not interested.
Tenzin here saying Apple is bullish. Tenzin somehow getting the ticker wrong on his favorite stock. That I can't really understand. But nonetheless.
Unless he is talking about oh no, they don't have a APPL anymore. I thought there used to be a stock, but not anymore. Never. Yeah. Okay. Apple. Now they had some news, didn't they, about the AI, their AI side of the business. They brought in some new lead tech that was formerly with Google.
Yes, that was news. I think that was yesterday. Let me get his name. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I forgot the gentleman's name.
They also had a CNBC report that Apple's going to ship 247.4 million iPhones in 2025, which is up 6% year over year. So
now that's the fresh news today. That's the fresh news that I think is driving it. I'm sorry, I can't quickly find who that was that they recently added, but I know exactly what you're talking about. CNBC reported earlier, Apple will ship 247.4 million phones, up 6% year over year. We told you that the demand for the phone initially was really good. And they had said that the channel checks were pretty good. It looks like we're seeing more of that here. Market is bouncing. Indeed, it is. We talked about that too.
And then we also had some news that is driving Intel a little bit higher today. It's down now out of the open, but we had some news about how they're going to be supplying chips to Apple.
I'll tell you what, this Intel chart, I don't know about you, 13, but this Intel chart looks like this might want to move higher as well.
Yeah, probably. And if that's the case, then I would be looking at probably 46 or 47. We're coming up to a pretty big resistance area. If you look to the left and look at where 44 has been support, in pretty much all throughout 2018 to 2022, and then we finally lost it in 2022. So that big area that was previously support is now going to be a potentially big area of resistance. So I think 44 might run into some upside trouble.
Okay, good stuff there. Intel, INTC.
Uber looking bullish over $90, says Rooster. What's IMPP is on fire?
I think that might be a bot spammer. Okay. IMPP is just a little junker name. We'll wait and see. If we get another one of those, we'll just ban. I'm just not sure, so I don't want to be too quick on the ban hammer.
NNE is a buy for lying around 25. Thoughts on RBRK for long term? Let's take a look. We were looking at this one not too long ago. So this had a death cross on the 13th of November. It's gone lower since. Still trying to recapture the 20-day SMA. They have earnings tomorrow, so I don't know what to expect out of that. I haven't followed this company, but if you think this is turning around, I mean that could be a catalyst that potentially does it. Like I said, I don't know what to expect. Not sure what. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on what's going to happen out of the earnings, but we have seen this trade down into this earnings print. So maybe it's been hammered enough to where if the earnings are good enough, this gets a nice lift back up over 70 and beyond. We'll see if that's the case or not. But if you want some resistance levels to the upside from here, certainly going to be the 20-day SMA. I'd also say probably 73, maybe somewhere in there, 73, 74, and then the 50-day SMA and then the 200-day SMA right above it. I would kind of lean on those four areas for upside resistance. I don't know if I can answer your question any further than that right now. It looks like this is in a downtrend, and I think we'll get a better idea if this is going to continue lower or if it's going to reverse and go higher after what we get from the earnings tomorrow after the market closes.
Okay. Jay here saying the storage stocks, STX, SanDisk, WDC, MU. My guess, we've seen the highs for a while. SanDisk was the best performer year to date, and SPY now down 100 from the last month. You know, Jay, I think you were probably on the other channel earlier today, but Pure Storage also reported earnings. They're getting smoked. They actually taking another huge leg lower here. This might be another data center play with the storage angle. But wow, nasty move. No bounce here yet. Pure Storage. Glad I didn't try to trade that one here today. You guys could have traded that short on this break of 80 to the downside. Did say that 80 was going to be a key level.
I think, well, here's where I'm at when it comes to these storage names, especially when it comes to RAM, because that's still showing that prices are increasing. It might come down to supply. If they can't meet that demand, you know, you'd think that that's going to probably drive the price higher. But at the same time, if they just can't meet demand, I think, you know, companies would go elsewhere, and then they wouldn't have as much of a backlog. That's just kind of the thought that I have. I don't know if it's going to end up materializing, but it still seems like the demand for RAM and NAND flash memory is still very, very high. So it might be, if any, it could be just temporary, you know, coming back in before it rips higher. I would just watch the prices of memory. If that continues to climb, I think that the demand is still there.
Thinking about it. CAPR, good to see you. Wish we saw more of you here, but good sale there on your CAPR trade. That will definitely earn you a register ring. What a move on that.
There's a link to to a website that tracks the price of memory, and this is kind of what I'm watching to see if we're gonna just to get an idea if we're gonna finally see that upside price action in memory and storage abate.
Also, great website if you're trying to build a new computer to make sure all of the compatibility issues are resolved and all that. I've used PC Parts Picker a number of times.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not trying to say you're wrong or anything like that, Jay. I'm just saying that there's as long as the demand and the prices for memory continue to be elevated, then there still might be some more upside. The demand for memory was a scramble, and people are paying way too much. I agree that they were paying way too much. And it was a scramble, but we're still building out these data centers, and we could still see, you know, this demand continue. So that's just why I'm watching that particular trend to see if prices continue to increase or if we're actually going to see some sideways price action and a drop off.
Okay, Tess says Google should be a beneficiary. Google here still holding above 300, 317 here today. Google's actually kind of been sideways the past couple of days.
Yeah, and speaking of sideways, looks like a lot of the stuff that we've been trading today is, you know, in a bit of a sideways pattern.
Shady's asking, how hard is it to rebuild a laptop? Is it worth it, or should I just buy a new one? I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this. My thought is that you should always just buy a new one. Laptops are engineered and designed for much tighter heat tolerances than desktop machines. And if you are changing parts around and you're not thinking about all of that stuff, you may very quickly run into some issues. With that one, I would say just buy a new one. The technology improves so fast anyway. It's probably best if you just do that. They're also much harder to work on than I would compare it to like a brand new like Mercedes versus like a 1970s Chevy. Like there's just so much room. It's so much easier to work on the 70s Chevy than it is on a new Mercedes. A lot of complicated stuff in there. I would say when it comes to laptop, just get a new one.
You know, I'm always one that likes to extend the life of my electronics as much as I can. So I understand, you know, the desire to try and rebuild a laptop.
Yeah, me too.
My issue is that you know, I haven't really done it before. I've only been able to add to it, you know, when it comes to like RAM or SSDs. But rebuilding it, my understanding is a lot of these components are kind of integrated together. So if you're willing to do some board level repairs, you know, have at it. But I think I would agree with Ryan that it's probably easier just to buy a new laptop, and probably even maybe cheaper in some aspects.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I wish I could give you some more information on that, but I repair and do stuff on PCs, not the towers, not laptops.
Yeah, like I said, the tower there is much easier. All right, again, folks, in just a couple of minutes here, we are going to be going over to a 15-minute segment. No all access today, so 13, we're going to be bringing you right back on after that. Close the day out strong, but definitely stick around for the segment. It is going to be Liz and Jenny from TastyLive. They're former floor traders. God, easy for me to say. Best friends, moms, option goddesses. Jenny Andrews and Liz Dierking will break down the basics of trading options while walking viewers through the TastyLive mechanics for portfolio management. Traders of all levels can glean valuable market knowledge for their researched back segments. They're going to be joining us live from the trading floor at the CBOE. We're going to be going to just in a couple of minutes here. Actually, let's see, 13. Let me see. Can I
get them sound absolutely angelic? Let's go.
They are. Let's be honest. They are. Can I get Liz and Jenny? Are you guys good? Can I get a thumbs up there? I can't see it. Producer, you'll have to let me know. Producer, just let me know when we're ready, and we'll go over to that segment.
Looks like Lion is saying that VZLA has more upside. I think he was responding to a question about that.
VZLA?
Yeah, Vizsla Silver Corp.
Okay. Oh, one of the silver names. I'm not surprised.
Do love that white metal.
I mean, this is an unpopular opinion. I like silver and all white metals more than traditional gold, but that's just me.
Oh, I love gold too, but silver's the one that I just think it's prettier.
Yeah, me too. I like the color more. That's literally what it comes down to. Nothing more complicated than that.
So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this one. This is it doesn't look like it's got a whole lot of volume today. A little more than 500,000 shares traded.
Which one?
Vizsla.
Oh, this one. Oh, VZLA. Sorry.
But they did have news yesterday about advancing a Panuco project. So I don't know if we're getting a continuation on that or not. It's just moving very slowly today. So I don't know that I could really provide an opinion on this one.
Okay.
If you think that the silver trade and the gold trade are still on, then this will probably end up being pretty good. Very, very extended though. We in May we were under 250, and now we're twice that. So we had a 2x here in about 6 months.
Michael here saying silver overbought on the daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, silver's been very extended. So
yeah, it has.
Let's be careful. I still think it's worth a lot more. It could be, but let's let this crazy upside that we've had here with the metals just cool off for a bit.
Marvell still trying to hold its intraday lows from that open pullback. See if it has the strength to do that. It hasn't really shown any more upside move past that. Let's take a look at AEO.
And iRobot also lost its VWAP, so this could continue to come in. Support's down around 445.
So AEO still holding at the VWAP here. We did lose 24. I'm glad I had a quick trigger on that trade early. That was a good one right out of the gate. Didn't leave anything on the table there. So that looks all right. Well, I'll still keep it on the back burner though.
Yeah.
Ryan Milligan wants NVIDIA levels. You want to give some NVIDIA levels, 13? You up for that?
Sure. Let's see what I got here for NVIDIA. Because I have some that I've just left out here as we were climbing to the upside. Certainly looks like 180 could be resistance, although I think I'd like to place the resistance a little bit higher around 184.50.
I would just go right to 185 because that's been a previous level, and that's basically where the 20's at.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a good spot too. To the downside, though, if we start losing levels, one that was a big area that I put out here, 171. I like that as support. I have several levels to the downside as support, 171, 168, 165. That has provided a good measure of support once we finally got in here in July. Went sideways. We were testing all these levels as support before we ended up going higher later on this fall. So I think to the downside, those are the levels I like, and then to the upside, I'd probably be on board with you and the SMAs, the 50 and the 20 kind of look like that's the resistance levels I'd be keeping an eye on.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, Rye. Great name. I love Ryan's name. APA, by the way, that was one of the ones that we had talked about earlier, and we actually talked about this yesterday. Here's APA. Higher we go. So this actually up 3% here today. I did throw an order out for those June 30 calls. I put my order out there at 185. Never got filled on those calls. So the stock just ran away from me. I'll be patient on this. I got a long-term view on that. It does look like we have a pretty decent break coming here. We'll see.
I've got a big trend line on this that I drew at some point. Any idea where you think it starts?
Does it start in June of 2022 or in November of 2022?
It starts in May of 2008, actually.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, so if you go to a weekly, you might, there you go. Yes. Yes. That's
I didn't look far enough to the left. How about that?
It's weird how yeah, you can draw it that way. I kind of let the wicks or the candles from 2011 breach of the trend line a little bit, so I could get some of the highs from 2022 and 23 to line up with this. You can draw it either way if you want to.
So you were basically doing something like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes a little bit more sense to me. I would have cut that first peak down too.
So and if we're going to use this, then that means that we're going to want to try to see prints up towards the 200-day SMA and the 500-day SMA. It's interesting too because right beneath that area is resistance at $30. It looks like $30 or 30, maybe 31. From where we were forming this head and shoulders pattern between February of 2022 and June of 2024. So that would essentially be the neckline. And if we come back up to back test that, that's going to be one of the big areas of resistance that I see here with the stock. So don't know if we'll get through that, but that's a big area of resistance. And if we do manage to get through that and start trading above it, we'll have a break of this trend line.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? He's sorry that he's late after the the caper pumping, but he wants to look at snow.
Look at Caper. This came in almost 20 points from that
Wow.
impulse high. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Glad I didn't mess with that one.
You like Q and C better? Well, I'll look at that. If this is what we were just talking about with APA, I mean, that's fine. I don't have any skin in the game for APA. I was just giving some levels, but we'll look at Q and C. Now, as far as snow goes, hey, another trend line. Do you have one on the daily there for? I may have had you draw one at some point. No, it doesn't. Okay.
I might have it on one of my others, but let's redraw it here if you don't mind.
Okay. So I think it'd serve you better to go to a weekly.
Okay.
And I think it'll be more apparent then.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to cut that other one down a little bit.
So I kind of like this trend here. This would be the one I'd be focused on for a break over 280. That would also result in the break of the trend line. And then if we start closing above this trend line, I want to see a back test that treats this as support. So 280 will still be a support area I'd like to see after we start closing over it. We did have a weekly, a death cross on the weekly. I'm sorry, not death cross, a golden cross on the weekly chart back in September. So potentially more upside here with this one, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get this 280 cleared and test it as support.
Okay.
And then we wanted to look at CNQ. Also, it looks like Snowflake has earnings today.
Whoa. Yeah, Snowflake reports after the bell. PayPal with a huge pull here. Maybe it was this JP Morgan form. Would have to go through that. Okay, but you know what, 13? We'll look at that in a sec. Let's go over to our segment with Liz and Jenny. 13, I will see you in just a few minutes. By the way, folks, 13 will still be in the chat.
Yep,
So
I'll be chilling.
no worries there. All right, 13, I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thank
All right,
you.
no problem.
All right, folks, as mentioned, please give a warm Benzinga welcome to former floor traders, best friends, moms, and option goddesses, Jenny Andrews and Liz Dierking. Let me go ahead and bring them on here. Jenny, joining us live.
Ryan, take a look at this. We are live from the SPX pit.
Thank you so much for having us. What an intro.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. This is awesome. Look, we've already had kind of a wild day here today. We got that Microsoft news that really kind of shook some stuff up, but I got to imagine that made for some great options trading. What do you folks see out there?
You know, it's interesting. We got here and there's a little bit of a low rumble. This is the SPX, so it's not necessarily all of Microsoft, but
it was busier today than yesterday. So I saw a lot of action at Pit. I don't know if you see from our board, we could see puts and calls and what's trading more, but looks like a good mix.
It does look like a good mix.
Okay, so no edge yet here today on any names out there, individual, market, or otherwise?
Well, I listened to you guys earlier, and I love that you were Oklo, NVIDIA. You were looking at all the things that we usually look at on a daily basis.
I know the only earnings trade we had was AEO. So,
Marvel,
I know our show account didn't have it, but Liz had it. It's still up, maybe 5 or 6, but it's still up.
It's still up. It's lost a little bit of it.
Did you trade AEO for the actual print, or was that post earnings?
For the print.
Okay.
We made a bullish trade in AEO.
That to me seemed like a no-brainer there. The Sydney Sweeney effect seems to still be going on there. So really good stuff.
We're going the Travis Kelce effect.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Did you want to, do you have a screen share that I'm missing here?
Oh, here. Not sure if you could see that.
Sure can. Let me there you go. Thank you, producer. Okay. So this is the TastyLive platform. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here?
Sure, it's the Tasty Trade platform.
Tasty Trade, sorry.
I have SPX pulled up since we're sitting in the SPX pit, and this is our option chain.
We wanted to look at SPX. We can look at anything you want. 15 minutes is going to go real fast. But SPX is here, and this is something that we trade every day being on this floor.
I don't know how you feel about the zero DTTEs, but we love them. They're busier now than the monthlies.
Yes. So the volume has surpassed, even with retail, has surpassed the zero DTE options trades. Are you familiar with option trading?
Yeah, absolutely. I do option trading myself. I generally stay away from the zero DTE because I like a little bit longer time frame there. But I know a lot of our group trades those very often. You can make huge gains in some of those stocks or in some of those contracts. Excuse me.
Well, we usually do small spreads. So I can put one in, for example, let's see, SPUs are up. They're unchanged right now. I'll sell a simple put spread. So here's just an at the money, $10 wide short put spread, taking 330. I kind of like a little more. What do you think?
I mean, it's not bad. SPX is trading right around this level for a little bit. So by putting in this particular trade, all we're saying is it's going to pop a little bit.
It's bouncing around, but I'll throw it in. And it'll just be a quick trade. Use about $600. And the profit potential here is about $350. And I will put in an order to close this trade for just $100 profit.
Okay. I'm looking at the SPX chart here. It sure looks like 68.50 would be a breakout spot. Does your trade require that to actually break out and go higher?
So this requires a small bounce.
Okay.
A small bounce. I didn't get filled yet.
Okay, so Ryan, this trade, we have a great research team, and they have done studies that there's more 5-minute up bars than there are down bars during this time frame.
after a certain time in the morning. So after around 9:15, 9:30.
So all we're looking for in this trade is a small pop.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we're getting it.
Yeah, where is my position here? It's up $110. I'm gonna take it off.
So we're gonna close it.
Okay.
Now let me ask you something. I'm looking at Tasty Trade there. How easy is the broker to use? Like, do you feel like it's easy for newcomers to just get rolling right away?
Go ahead. Okay, it has everything, and it might look intimidating, and it might look a little scary.
Yeah.
But I say if you're going to trade with the brokerage firm that is the fastest, has everything. We have FX, we have crypto, we have options, we have everything.
And we're old options traders, so this is a brokerage that is made for options traders.
Made by options traders. And we have futures. You can trade everything on here.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Do you want to take a look at some individual names here? It looks like the chat has a couple that they'd want to look at.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Let's start here with Coin, COIN. That's Coinbase.
I love trading coin. There's a lot of premium there. I don't know how far out you go with your trades. I know you mentioned not the 0 day.
Yeah, generally speaking, I'm probably looking at about a month till expiry, just so I have a couple of weeks, but I'm open. And I think the chat here, for the most part, also pretty short-term traders. So you want to do a short-term trade, that'd be fine with them, I'm sure.
You know, in coin, we find that the monthly options are the most liquid. So we'll typically stick with December or January. I could open up Jan. I don't know what you like, but we typically like to sell puts or jade lizards, if you want to explain what a jade lizard is.
Do you know what a jade lizard is?
I've heard that mentioned, but I have to admit, I'm not sure what all the legs of that are. You'll have to explain that to the group.
Okay, very quickly. Jenny and I invented it. That's why it's called a jade lizard. Hence it was a J lizard. And it is selling an out-of-the-money call spread and an out-of-the-money put where you have no risk to the upside. It's a great premium selling strategy that takes advantage of all skew.
Okay. And we're getting a message here. Brian said, what caused this huge pop in the ES? Well, obviously, that's Liz and Jenny in their trade.
Yeah, more 5-minute up bars.
there you go. That's what caused it, Brian.
No, usually you'll see that during this time.
But look at how fast we were filled on the. So here at 9:32, we sold that put spread for $350, and at 9:33, we bought it back for $245. So that was 1 minute. Spoos went from down 2 to up 6.
Yep.
I don't know.
And that's why we like these trades and then closing them, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge up day. You just need a pop.
Yeah.
And we saw like a 6-point spoo pop. That's it to get out of the trade.
Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty good timing there. I still think on the SPX, they're probably going to test that 68.51. We'll see if we get that here today. I will say, when I woke up this morning and I looked in the pre-market, I thought for sure we were going to get that. We pulled out of the open here, but the recovery looks pretty good.
So can we ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
68.51. Where are you getting it from?
I'm looking at the high here that it really struggled to get above on Friday. So if you take a look at the intraday chart from Friday, it really looks like 68.50 to 68.51. We also re-challenged that level yesterday. 68.51.55 was the day high. Really, that area getting broke, I think, probably sends us higher.
Okay. That's interesting. So 68.51, I hope it gets there today.
Let's take a look at 68.51.
So if I were trading the 0 day and I really thought we were going to go that high, I'd probably do something like buy a call spread, the 68.45, 68.50, and sell a put spread to pay for it. And there I'm paying a 35-cent debit, but I can make $500 by the end of the day if it goes to that 68.50.
Yeah, I love that. I love using other options to finance the one that you're buying too. I think that's really smart. 35-cent debit, that's nothing. I mean, that's a really good risk to reward there. Okay, did you want to take a look at any other individual names?
Can we take a look at Marvell? Did you guys talk about it yesterday?
Yes, we talked about Marvell here. You know what? This is actually a source of pride for us because we actually did a scan a couple of weeks ago saying Marvell, one of the chip stocks that really hasn't moved yet, kind of looking like it's going to, and bang, we ended up getting it here just a couple of weeks later. Let's definitely look at Marvell.
Marvell's one of my babies.
All right.
It had a
great.
nice
This
move.
is perfect.
It had a nice move. Look at that jump today on earnings. And we do not have a position, but if we wanted to get in, we'd probably just sell the 90 put for about $325, $325. It only uses $1,000 in buying power.
Yeah, that's not bad. And that's the regular monthly options.
Yeah. I don't know what you would do if you're just trading stock or using options.
All right, Ryan, this is what I love. I love you picking a direction and us putting on a high probability trade.
Okay, so let's stick with Marvell then for that.
Okay.
What I'm seeing here, just looking at the intraday chart from Marvell here, is doing a really good job holding 98. I noticed earlier, right around the open, it was kind of battling with that $100 level. I think if we pop above that $100 level, we're likely going to go test 103.5, which represents the pre-market high from today.
So are you trading stock short term or are you just watching it to hit a certain level and then you get long?
Yeah, so most of the time when I'm trading something short term like this, I'm going to go after the stock just because it's easier for me to get in and out. Maybe I actually need TastyTrade to get quicker fills on that. That might change that a little. But for the most part, I'm doing stock here. If I want to extend it past a day and I don't want to lay the capital out, that's generally when I'll use an option for a swing trade.
Okay. Now with that information, I might look at a short-term buffer.
Ooh. Have you ever heard of a buffer trade?
No. Tell me what that is.
So basically, we give ourselves some protection to the downside, but if it goes up, we make decent money.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll pull one up.
While you're pulling that up, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. So the buffer trade, buffer ETFs have kind of taken over. Even Goldman Sachs bought somebody this morning for like $2 billion. The buffer ETF says you want protection to a certain side and you're willing to give up some of your gains.
Here, I did a short 2-week trade where I'm buying a put spread, starting with the at the money, and this is going to give me protection down to 95. Then I'm going to sell an in the money put. I'll sell that 105. So basically, I can keep this $594 in 2 weeks if we're at 105 or above, but I have protection down to this 95 level. Let me take a look on the analysis page.
Oh yeah, show it to him visually.
So here we go. I can make money if Marvell goes up, but I don't lose until we get to this level down here.
You're buffering your risk.
Okay. Now, would you put a stop on something like this?
We don't.
You don't?
You'd be long Marvell at 95.
I mean, honestly, you can close it for a loss. I don't have a problem with that, but we're in our platform so much. I'm not a big fan of putting in a stop loss order.
Yeah, and if you love the stock, if it's your baby, then you probably want to just be put to it at a lower price. That's not so bad.
That's right.
That's right.
Lower
Okay.
loss basis.
I'm going to ship this trade. It's a short trade. If Marvell keeps going up, we can make $593.
So a lot of times I'll put these on after earnings to see if it's going to continue its move.
So we're filled. Now our profit potential is almost $600, but we usually take our trades off for 50%. So I'll put in an order to take $300 out of it.
So we don't put in stop losses. We put in GTC is good till cancel for profits.
Okay.
So that's it. That easy.
Okay, real quick here, I just wanted to mention, because you might not be seeing this, we are getting that move, that little pop in the SPY. I think that's actually on a Microsoft headline, a second one for the day. The information reported that the company lowered AI sales quotas. However, Microsoft reportedly said that it has not lowered those quotas, and the information from the information might actually be bad information. And so this should actually be great for trading Microsoft intraday, I got to imagine.
I love that we're getting this breaking news. I'm actually long Microsoft, so I wasn't happy with the move today. Okay, here we go.
Wow.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's still down $8, but it was worse earlier.
All right, Ryan, what are you seeing in Microsoft? What are you doing? Then we can put a trade on top of it.
Okay, let me actually take a look. So Microsoft, let me get to my bigger chart here. Sorry, I didn't have that handy. And I'll tell you, I'm bullish on Microsoft. I'm bullish on a lot of these AI names, especially the best in breed names, which Microsoft certainly qualifies for. What I wanted to see here, real quick, I don't know if you can see my screen. We recently we recently tested this 200-day moving average. That's what the dark blue line is. And with the move today, I felt like, you know what, we probably have another retest coming here if this is going to be weak. So now with the news coming out here, I would say, yeah, we probably won't test 470 here. I'd be looking for a move back above 393.25, which is right about where the 20-day moving average is. And I'd put a target on this trade at about 510. That's just above the 50. I would also say that if you get a nice quick pop and you get right to that 500 round number level, and it doesn't look like it wants to go through that, that actually might be a first spot to take gains.
I really like this. You coming up with your directions and then us finding high probability trades. But I want to learn how you come up with these directions.
So I'm basically just looking at a chart. I'm a gigantic fan of moving average of moving average levels. And I also take a look at things like RSI, MACD, and volume flow. And I'm working for a media company here. I have to pay attention to the news. I mean, come on. So if there's a news story going on that's kind of driving it, I feel like the stock is more in play here. And that's absolutely been the case for Microsoft, and obviously with the fresh headline here today. So I'm looking at a chart. I'm seeing a recent bounce off of the support area. I saw a reaction to a negative reaction to a piece of news today, followed by a defense of that same piece of news and an up move. So I'm looking for upside targets here, and I'm starting with the moving averages. That's how I gave you those levels.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. And if someone wants to get in, I'll pop back into the platform, in a less expensive way, because Microsoft's very expensive. You can use those weekly options, like that 485 call is only $330. Not a bad way to make a play for the week if you think it's going to bounce.
Or even wrapping around the money call spread.
You can. Sure, you can. Here's a $5 wide for $260. You could make $240 if it goes up through the week.
Okay, I will say I'm watching you folks click around in here. It actually does look like it's pretty easy to use. So I was initially intimidated, but I think just in this segment, I'm less intimidated by it. Looks pretty awesome.
It is easy once you learn it. And we both have our kids trading on it.
Yeah, my 18-year-old's on it.
Okay, 18. Get them started while they're young. If there's one regret I have is that I didn't start investing when I was younger. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's pretty engaged in it, and this is easy to use.
It is easy to use. And they do like the new 0DTE.
They like the instant gratification.
And I say new, but it's been 2 years.
Okay. You guys were, excuse me, you gals were correct. I'm sorry. You option goddesses were correct here. This went by really fast. Can you tell the viewers more about where they can find you, or maybe where they can look into Tasty Trade?
So we're on TastyLive 5 days a week from 10 to 11 Central Time.
Just TastyLive.com. And then when you get on there, you go to the Liz and Jenny Show. We're all archived as well. We're live from the SIBO floor 2 days a week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
TastyLive has programming all day and lots of learning. There's a Learn tab. If people have questions, they could just search and their questions are answered. Any option question.
Okay, you got a lot of love here in the chat. How did you ladies deal with the snow this morning? Did you like that?
We took the train.
That was a really good answer. Actually, I'm surprised by how good that answer is. Okay, Liz and Jenny, really, really appreciate it. Awesome stuff here. Look forward to having you back. I think this looks like a lot of good reception here for this. Really awesome stuff. Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We had a wonderful time.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, that is Liz and Jenny from TastyLive. Really good stuff there, directly from the CBOE floor, or from the pit on the floor there. Absolutely awesome. Thanks, folks, for giving them a warm Benzinga welcome. Let's bring 13 back on here. 13, okay. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but had to take care of that. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. What do you think about their Microsoft outlook?
Sorry, I wasn't focused on what they were saying about the Microsoft Outlook. I was looking at the chart and wondering if we're going to get a gap fill today if we see some more upside. I was just trying to engage with some of the what the chat was saying and put some tickers out there for them to look at. But sorry, my head was elsewhere.
No, it's all good. You guys, I love our chat here accusing me of they're both married, guys. Come on now. Keep it together here. Keep it together, chat. I know you folks like to get a little wild there. All right. What else you see going on? What else we got here?
It looks like it looks like the market's rallying right now a little bit here. We got
sure is that Microsoft headline
yeah.
that the information was actually not good information. I love that.
I'm always going to come up with a pun if I can.
Yeah, I know. You're punny that way.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, when it comes to like the SPY, we're going to need to see this. We need to see some closes above 684. That has been the area that we've only had 3 close the entire time we've been up in the 680s. 684 was closed on above on the 27th of October, 28th, and the 29th. Since then, no close above 684. So I think that's an important level we're going to want to keep an eye on. If we do start getting if we get a close on above it, then I think that's going to lead to more upside.
Okay, I'm with you on that. 684 has been something that I've been watching pretty much since the last several weeks here. I think you're spot on with that.
Cam asking if I had heard about Anthropic getting ready for an IPO.
Yep, 2026. Who was the first group to talk about Anthropic IPOing in 2026? Ours? That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Anthropic, one of the several IPOs I'm keeping an eye on. There's some interesting IPOs happening next year. There's one that's regarding it's going to be called, I think, American Critical Minerals. It's a spinoff of a company that's currently setting up geothermal and lithium extraction in the Salton Sea area of California. There's several companies out there, some of who have partnerships with GM and Stellantis and Ford to supply lithium to them. I'm keeping an eye. They're supposed to IPO, spin off an IPO in mid 2026, but it's kind of an interesting play. It goes along with the battery and the lithium theme that we believe is going to happen next year. So something I'm certainly keeping an eye on.
Okay. All right. What else do we have here? Do I take extra socks when I go golfing? No, of course not.
In case you get a hole in one.
Oh, in case I get a hole in one, of course. Well, then you think you just got to go sockless, right? You get a hole in one, ain't nothing going to bring you down. Just go sockless. I love how much fun we're all having here today. That's absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous.
Ryan is Summerall is asking if we could look at P-Sky. This is
sure.
Paramount. Would I agree with you on, Lion? I don't know what you were asking, what you're saying about. But P-Sky,
he's smack talking Western culture, so I don't think you want to agree with him, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, whatever. The piece. So this is one of the companies that's supposed to be getting or trying to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. The others are like Comcast, Netflix, and even Saudi Arabia's wealth fund is looking at this. So it could be a combination of companies that end up picking this up. But we'll see. Let me look at P-Sky here. Because this was a recent merger between Skydance and Paramount. This looks like this is coming down. Don't like the way this chart is looking. I mean, to me, it looks like this could come down to 14 pretty soon. So what are we looking for here? I mean, let's also keep in mind that if they do acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, that's I don't have the transaction details, but essentially that could be money leaving the company as well. But yeah, I think to the downside, I'd be looking at the 200-day SMA and $14 as support. I don't know that we're going to be turning around here. Pretty big red candle here today. though the last time we got one of these, we ended up reversing over the next several days.
Yeah, I'm looking at this candle here on the daily 13. It's hard for me to say that this isn't not going to test the test lower here. I've got the support area here about 1450. I think if we break that, we probably go towards like 13 and a half.
Okay, so we're some of the other support areas back from July.
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't say that that's an impossibility either. It certainly could happen.
Ryan said he's looking for a bounce at 1490. Okay.
All right, so well, that's not too far away from where we're at.
No, it's not. That's actually one of the recent lows there too.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what your trade plan is, if it's just a quick day trade, but if this is something you're looking to hold longer, it still seems to me like this is more trading to the downside than the upside at the moment.
Okay. What else we got out there? Tara's asking Onda's thoughts. Tara, you missed it. We talked a lot about that earlier when the news came here. The news is great, I think. This really kind of showed there were no numbers in that. We were expected to get that order, I think, in January. So we'll probably see some numbers tied to this in the future. As far as the action here today, one of the things that I had said, and I've said this before, this stock is talked about a lot on X. There's a whole bunch of FinTwit traders out there. There's definitely shorts in this. There's a cohort of people that think this stock is a zero. So there's a huge battle going on. We often see these news pops get sold. We saw that again here today. This was actually moving down with the broader market as well earlier in the day, but it looks like it's really kind of held 750. I'd love this to hold 780. Frankly, this was a level that we were kind of looking at yesterday. If we take a look at the daily chart here, I've got the 9 EMA at 769. I would love to close above that. So given this pullback, if the buyers are strong enough to take us above 769 into a 770 handle, I actually think that would be pretty constructive. Overall, though, fundamentally on this news, this is exactly the type of stuff that we wanted to see. And we are expecting to see this the Summer Olympics in 2028, possibly the World Cup, and then maybe, although I don't think so, the February Olympics in Italy. So good news, fundamentally, less than ideal reaction here being down 5%, but we've seen this before, long and strong.
Yeah, I really would prefer to see what looks like a bull flag resolve to the upside here. We're not quite getting that yet. Look, we should have started to get that yesterday, but it doesn't look like we had the volume. Maybe we did, just more people wanted to sell into the strength. I really think we need to see this get back up above 9 pretty soon, or we're going to start trading, in my opinion, under 7. So,
okay,
that's what I would need to see here. I think it should be going higher.
And give it some time. Maybe it will.
Ryan saying P Sky buying everything up, and UFC deal starts in January. Well, that's the thing. I don't think we've got any. They're one of the bidders for Warner Brothers Discovery, and I know that they're not the only ones out there. But if there's some kind of deal coming with Saudi Arabia, I think that's probably the best case scenario for their IP, because they want to bring back some of the IP that was working better. Specifically Zack Snyder's DC universe, which would be amazing, to be honest, in my opinion. But I think we just need to see who's going to end up getting them. This is it's a big question mark right now. But they have been, all bids have been submitted as far as my understanding goes. 13 the party killer? Oh no, sir.
I was going to say, I don't know about you guys. 13 brings the party a lot of the time, but that's neither here nor there. Marvell here, looks like this is breaking down. Kind of a rough rollover here. Be honest, just kind of looking at this chart here, think this could probably come back in another 3 points from where it's at. Yeah. That would be a rough retracement after the earnings.
This looks like a gap fill, but also this looks like it's potentially a bullish pattern that we have forming here. So if you drew trend lines, if we start, let's say if we start with the move that took us up through here, and it kind of initially topped out in October, early October, and then we started making a series of lower lows and higher highs. This broadening that we're getting here with that price action since October makes me think that we could eventually break out of this and go higher.
Okay.
So
Do you have an ad level for that? Because that would be a sick trade.
Well, I think what I want to see happen first is I want to see this gap fill that we created today. So this gap from December 2nd to today, the 3rd, this is off the earnings results. We all know that. And now we're sinking into that area of support where we were yesterday. So if we do get this gap fill, I think that would be step one of me liking this trade. If I'm going to take a position in this, I probably want to do it under 90.
Okay. All right, good stuff. I'm Marvell. Appreciate the trade plan there. Check in on a couple of more stocks before we wrap for the day here. The really good stuff here today, 13.
No, it has been a fun day.
Yeah, we had some wild news right around the open. Didn't really have a whole lot on some of the movers.
The movers weren't great.
Did. What?
The movers weren't that great today. The list was very, very short. The runners were not. I mean, we had one that was over 100%, and everything else is like less than 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. Lion, yes. Anne-Marie will be joining us again on Friday. She's Tuesdays and Fridays. She'll be back. Segment with Liz and Jenny is separate from Anne-Marie.
And just some growth. Yeah, it does feel like there's not a lot of volume. I mean, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting here, which is why, when we're trading these days, and I believe it's probably going to be this way going into the rate decision. The morning has been great, and I have a tendency to just sit on my hands and kick back and let the market do its thing. And I'll just do research throughout the rest of the day, because you're right. The volume really does seem to drop off after the morning, especially that 10:30 time that we typically mention, where people get up from their desks, stretch their legs, go have lunch, whatever. So I am just going to be happy with what I get in the morning, and then let's just see what we get in the afternoon, because you're right. Volume has not been great.
AEO, this moving back through its VWAP, back at that 24 level. We talked about that one earlier. That was really one of the targets on the move through. We did go through that, popped a little bit higher. I'll see if we get this again. I might keep AEO on your radar, possibly for an afternoon trade, especially if we break above and hold above this impulse high. Again, that was like 1422.
Oh, right. But real quick before we jump off here, I just want to point out, because this was also getting mentioned in the happy hour chat, the Trump administration is going to announce new fuel economy standards today. So there could be some potential plays on that. I don't know if it's going to be on the energy side or the vehicle side, but
I think it's on the vehicle side. I think they were going to relax some of the rules there.
Well, I mean, like as far as where we could find a trade to take. So just keep that information in mind. There's some trades out there. Just got to find them. But that is that's going to be an announcement that's coming today. That certainly could move certain aspects of the market.
Okay. All right. 13, really good stuff as usual. I know that you kind of just wrapped it right there, but do you have any other closing remarks?
Folks, just make sure you keep your safety hat on, because we could see, some wild price action going into this Fed decision next week. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just make sure you get your in and out of your trades, take your profit, don't be greedy, and protect yourself, because I think we're still going to be in for some more volatility going into that decision.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right there. Really good stuff, 13. Have a good rest of your day.
See you later.
Happy hour. And we'll have 13 back tomorrow. 13's departure paves the way for the story trading folks. Let's check in with them and see how they're doing. We'll bring on Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. The trifecta, I think I like to call you guys now.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, you?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good here. I had an amazing Thanksgiving. Godfather, I hope you found a way to somehow celebrate Thanksgiving. But in any case, it was awesome. Happy to be back. Doing really well here.
Welcome back. So
who's got the screen share for me?
Oh, that's right. That's what you're waiting for. I'm like, what's missing? All right, here we go.
You're like, why is he wasting time here? Yep. Here we go. All right, we won't waste any more time. Take it away, Ben.
All right, sounds good. Well, look, crazy volatile market. I've personally had a hard time trading it. I've had very many good predictions, but the trading is just crazy. I'll just give you one example. AEO, I was loaded up on call options coming into this ER, but I just got cold feet because of just volatility, and I sold it, and then I bought common shares, and after hour I just misplayed it. And this is happening over and over for me, man. I don't like volatility. Look, here's another example. Microsoft here this morning. All right. What are you supposed to do? You get that bad news from the information that they're lowering sales quotas. What do you go short? Not saying I did this one, I managed to make money on, but there's so many things like this. It's chasing the headlines has been very, very perilous. Like, who would have known? Rhett, you called it, but really, who could have known with any reliability?
No, I think the Godfather called that one first.
Godfather called it. Rhett, a lot of people call it, but I think most people will be like, okay, well, that's dangerous. Maybe I got a short QQQ or short Microsoft, and then you get a headline saying that was fake news. So, man, it is perilous out there for the way I trade. There's just no stability in the headlines, and things are just ripping. It's like crazy. But anyway, I digress because I'm bitching about my performance, even though I've made some great predictions. But let me just tell you a quick macro here. I've been looking for Bitcoin to break over the 20 DMA, which it did. So I went to a green signal, especially on risk assets and IWM. I gave you that yesterday. I was saying I'm waiting for that to happen. When it does, I'll go green. And I did. And then we got ADP coming in much worse than expected this morning. And that's another tailwind for IWM. So I predicted IWM would outperform today, and it is. But, I just didn't do it enough size. I have a few call options, but nothing special. While I'm getting raped on everything else. But in any case, so IWM in the morning note this morning, I said, I think we can see 250 proximal high up there, 252.77. I think we can see a run towards 252 by Wednesday before the FOMC decision. And then maybe a sell the news, or maybe it starts selling off on Wednesday morning. That's my prediction for IWM. Now, one worry I have, Godfather, is at what point does bad news become bad news? Because the paradigm we're in is bad news is good news for rates. And man, I did call that divergence pretty well on IWMQs this morning. But so bad news is good news for rate, but too much bad news at some point is going to become bad news. So I'll pause there. That's my macro overview, and then let's see what you guys think about the macro. Then we'll dig into the specific stocks.
Look, it's been really choppy these last couple of days. This is very characteristic of this time of year, right? The Santa Claus rally that we typically get starts usually around the sort of 15th, 16th, and we typically get this kind of digestion phase. Look, I don't think you need to over analyze too much unless there's something in the price action that tells you otherwise. I've been very skeptical of this move, and the market has felt like, wow, something could come out of left field at any moment here, and we retest those 50s. But so far, that hasn't happened. So in absence of that, I think you need to focus on what's next. And we are for sure going to get this rate cut. Undoubtedly, Powell will couch it as a hawkish cut. But I think increasingly that doesn't matter, because May is coming up fast. And you've heard me say I wouldn't be surprised if, Trump officially announces Hassett, on the day, right in the middle of Powell's presser, something like that, just to steal the thunder. So, look, I'm long IWM calls going into the rate decision. I think post the rate decision, any sort of impediments towards the Santa Claus rally will have dissipated, and then I think we get into our 2 weeks of silly season here. Because look, we do have a bunch of one big beautiful bill, stimulus, tax refunds, all the rest of that. We do have a message from the administration that they are going to continue to focus on market-friendly policies, be they housing or otherwise. These potential tariff checks to everyone. There's a lot that's going to happen to support this market. And so again, I think you go back to the themes that are still prevalent in this market, and you do it in the names that the names that are quality. And look, if we get a
speaking of housing, now up 5.5% today, just rocketed out of the gate. It didn't care about Microsoft, didn't care about the Qs. It was like bad jobs data. I'm in. That's what happened.
This Microsoft thing was really ill-timed. I mean, if you're paying attention to what's actually going on in the market, it's the AWS event all week, and the theme of it is the future of agentic AI is here. And on that note, we've got a really big data point on this with UiPath reporting after close today.
Right.
And these guys have been the leaders in robotic process automation. The number 2 in that market is Microsoft Automate.
Path is a robotics company? I don't know.
No, it's a software robotics company. So if you have tasks in your company, like say you're an insurance company and you're doing claims or whatever, there's certain paths, certain tasks that are repeatable. Every field has got to be filled in, this, that, whatever. They automate that. They're software robots, if you will. But what they're doing, and I think that this is really interesting, and I'm going to be paying a ton of attention to this. It hasn't really been on my radar screen, but this has the potential to be another Palantir.
Really?
Yeah. What's interesting
Wow.
here is, look, what's the number one theme you're getting out of company conference calls? It's efficiency. It's layoffs. It's, there's an urgency to adopt AI across the board corporately, right? But there's apprehension about, what are the outcomes going to be from these agentic agents? And we're seeing more and more of these. And so what these guys are doing as a next gen, they already dominate. By the way, they have 65% market share in RPAs, which is robotic process automations. And Microsoft is number 2 at 20%. They've rolled out this thing called Maestro. And it's system agnostic. And basically what it does is coordinate all of these agentic agents. So you think about this process train that's got all these RPA robots in it. And then you got certain things that, require a little bit more knowledge. They require an LLM, all the rest of it. But it all comes down to increasing efficiency. Can you get away with cutting staff by incorporating this? And if they can prove, and they've already got 10,000 enterprise customers, if they can prove that they are the go-to, automation coordination layer for agentic, then this thing, which is trading at a 3.6 times EV to sales multiple, could see some major expansion. Look, they have 100% track record of beating estimates. They do report after close today. The stock went up 7% back in September when they reported last, and then it got this win that took all of this. Took it up 70% up to 18. I think we're at a decent place here at 14, and there's room for some multiple expansion. I think quite quickly this could become a real sort of go-to name.
You playing this with common shares or call options into the earnings?
So right now I'm buying the Jan 16 $14 calls.
Ooh. I'm gonna follow you right now.
I'm confident in the quarter. I'm also confident that this name we'll see some pickup. I'm not sure we're going to go straight back to 17, 18, but there's certainly room for multiple expansion here. Keep in mind too that they've got 1.4 billion in cash and are free cash flow positive. It's an 82% gross margin company that does operating margins at 17 that are set to expand, something closer to what you see on normal software type companies in the sort of 20 to 30% range. So it really has that possibility to be double, triple in 2026. And it's the core, right? Look what's going on with AI. There's a bit of a dispersion we're seeing amongst the incumbent hardware players towards this custom silicon, all the rest of it. But the market's really, really looking for who are the AI beneficiaries, and the models are there now. We've proven that agentic agents are worthwhile. It's now a question of helping corporations incorporate these into their workloads and into their process streams, and helping them gauge the efficiency. So look, there's two sides of the coin here. They're either going to end up becoming more like a Palantir, which enables companies to benefit from AI, or they're going to end up like an Accenture, which is obviously a consulting company, but a big part of their practice has been on AI. It's been a huge laggard here. And actually that stock is looking really interesting off the lows here too. ACN is the ticker there. So have an eye on that name.
Yeah, would really like it to
ACN,
take more of the Palantir path. I feel like there's more opportunity there in terms of.
Yeah, look, this is a software company as opposed to a consulting company. I'm much more interested in a software company because it scales. This is it's interesting. It wasn't previously on my radar screen.
Wow, Accenture has been going straight up since that OpenAI deal. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't think that this chart is particularly demanding, but again, it's a consulting company, not sort of my favorite way to play it. But on this robotics theme, You heard me talk about OUST on the small cap show.
What was exactly the catalyst this morning on robotics? I saw something about Trump wanting to do something in 2026 with robotics. Does anyone have the
Yeah,
details
there
on
was
that?
an announcement saying that this is the next area that they want to see leadership, American enterprise lead in. So, what does
Yep.
that mean in terms of investments, by the administration? None of that has sort of been articulated yet. But look,
Right.
the robotics, I sent out my screen to the Discord. We all know that there's a bunch of shitty companies on there like Serve and RR. Okay, great. Bartending robots are fun, but
I went straight for Tesla
yeah,
this morning on Optimus. So I
but
did.
then you get all the other crosswinds in Tesla. But for sure they're going to dominate in robots. But a company like OUST, which makes lidar, they are essentially the eyes of robots. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a humanoid form. It's in process automation, factory lines, anything that has to do with industrial automation, smart infrastructure, monitoring traffic flows and automating traffic lights, in malls, counting people as they go in and out of stores, these kinds of things, surveillance in the field. So look, this company, it bridges a lot of things. It's LiDAR because, their technology is used in ADAS. It's used for automated braking, blind spots, all the rest of that. And they're partners with NVIDIA on NVIDIA Drive. They're partners with NVIDIA Metropolis on smart cities. They're partnered with NVIDIA Isaac on robotics. So it's LiDAR, it's robotics, and it's AI, and it's physical AI, right? Like they are essentially bridging the gap between AI and the real world, and they've got a fully NDAA compliant supply chain, and they're Blue UAS certified. So, they are the eyes and ears. It's also a drone play. So look, this name, look at the chart, right? It bounced perfectly off of the 200. It looks close to reclaiming the 20, which where does it show on your chart? I think it's like 2320 or something.
2263. It's
Oh,
right,
there you
battling
go.
it
So
right
we're,
now.
we're battling it right there. The stock, it hit the 36s. At that point, it's up around 11 times EV to sales. I think that's sort of a high-end multiple for this company. But down here at 6, it's not demanding at all. And this is a company that is close to close to operating cash flow break even, has 260 million in cash and zero debt. So look, they shipped a record number of sensors in the last quarter. It's a relatively thin stock. The float's only 55 million. There's 12% short. No reason in the cap structure for there to be a short position. I just think that technically and fundamentally, and from a sentiment standpoint, this is ticking all the story trading boxes for a move, back up into that sort of 27, 28. And if the market gets frenzied, it'll go back to 30 again.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah. And we're seeing a lot of this, by the way, technicals that are doing just this, breaking this, moving average above breaking the 20, making the move to the 50. We've seen some already break the 20 and start making that move to the 50. So this is a very common setup as the risk assets are, back in play. But let me ask you this though: do you not worry at all about what I mentioned on the macro that the lower interest rate anticipation is part of what's driving a stock like ALS, I think, to battle that 20 DMA, right? But at what point do we worry about is too much bad news actually bad news rather than good news? Is that like a far off worry, or is that an acute?
Well, my biggest worry is job losses are way worse than the market thinks. So what potentially is the remedy for that? Hassett in the Fed getting extremely aggressive and all sorts of stimulus in the economy to counteract that.
But would the markets go up? If they're stimulus, lower rates, QE, whatever, right? With I guess the tariff rebates, whatever Trump wants to do, if they do all that, would that be enough to counteract? Let's say at the very same time, the jobs numbers come in much worse than expected, and now consumer spending's down, and now there's talk about recession. Which one's going to win in that kind of environment in terms of the market direction?
Well, I think all you need to get right are which market segments are going to win, right?
Yeah.
And so focus on those. Focus away from the consumer sensitive and discretionary spend names, and focus on those direct interest rate beneficiaries. Housing, steepening yield curve. That means IWM. That means small caps will outperform. But stay away from things that are lever to the consumer. Stay away from those fintech companies that are heavily reliant on customer potential customer delinquencies. Names like that. So look, it's been a difficult market because there's been no trend to this market, but I suspect we're going to see that change. And we don't have to wait long because we're only a few days away now from the Fed meeting.
I look at Path. You talked about Path. I bought it. Actually, I bought common shares and options, and look at that, it's going up. So people are listening.
Right, and the other thing is this physical assets, right? As you see these continued depreciation in the currencies. I think you got to keep one eye on what's going on in Japan because that really does have an impact. And stick with the leaders here. You've got some real structural positives to the silver market on a squeeze basis with low physical, etc. I'm playing, physical assets, through that side of things. There's also, of course, an economic and a technological element to silver demand. So I think that trade's got still some more room to move. I'm a little less constructive on cryptos. I can't get a handle on that volatility. It seems to me,
Oh, we are over the 20. I mean, that's
but does it make you want to rush out and buy it here at 92? Certainly does.
No, but I think it's a tailwind for risk assets. It's a tailwind even for ALS.
Yeah, but I see things that have a much better risk reward to them. Another one that we've been talking about a lot here.
How about Galaxy? I never gave up on that. I know that was the one where we both loved that conference call. Have you walked away from that because of Bitcoin here? I'm still in it currently in a big way.
Because I don't want to be part of this Bitcoin volatility right now. But look, there's two levers to this name. There's the data center story side, which I think is grossly underappreciated in this name. But look, we know that it trades, frustratingly and kind of like bull. These things trade in tandem with the Bitcoin chart, which I don't like. It shouldn't, but it does. So you can find cleaner proxies. I am completely out of the IRINs and the ciphers and that whole trade. I'm more interested in names like this Path, for example.
What about AIP up here?
Yeah, AIP.
I'm selling some AIP in my retirement account.
Yeah, look, you got to love a royalty model.
Oh, look at that. It's been doing well, AIP.
Yeah. We really got crushed when the market came down. I think it traded into the 11s, which was a real gift. But look, this company benefits from this dispersion that we're seeing in the AI trade to the extent that, custom silicon is being used for all sorts of things, physical AI. There's a lot of inference at the edge that doesn't require, full data center. You simply don't have time. So, you're talking about, security cameras that have intelligence built into them. And, they provide the IP that goes into a lot of that custom silicon. So they're well positioned. That name melts higher over time. Again, cash flow machine. They're not going to dilute. Super great business model because, it's also a volume thing. So, you get upfront licensing and then you get, a tag on royalty for every unit sold. And their business model is maturing to where those licenses are now starting to, flip into actual royalty sales. And that's where the flywheel starts to really spin. So I like the structure there. IP intelligence is definitely for AI is definitely a field you want to be in. It's just it's so difficult for all of these small companies to have their own R&D departments. They just can't afford it, so they're going to outsource it. Who are they going to outsource it to? They're going to outsource it to the ARMs of the world and the AIPs of the world. So I like that. C1 we need to talk about here.
Okay, after that, I want to get a few in because we're running short on time. But C1 over here, here's a daily chart.
Look, we all know the story here. There's a sale process clearly underway. There's rumors that
we haven't heard anything in 16 days. Is that
right? I highlighted the fact that the last press release the company put out was on the 12th of November, which was right when these rumors started to surface. Not a word has come out of the company since then. And if you look at the cadence of their previous press releases, they typically put something out every kind of like 5 to 10 days. That leads me to believe that they are actually in this process. And, you know, there's the two folks that were involved in taking them public that are rumored to be part of this process. Thoma Bravo is rumored to have submitted a bid already. This plays into the exact sort of timeline you would expect from a company that now has a data room open and are fielding competitive bids. And look, this company has been bashed like a lot of the software companies over this, you know, thoughts of an existential threat from AI to their business. But unlike a lot of those companies, they actually benefit from AI. And this is a, you know, this is a rule of 50 company. You know, this is a company that's got 34% EBITDA margins. This is a company that's seeing 77% year over year cross sale. So the customer acquisition costs are falling off the map. The bottom line is on a you know, historical acquisition multiple basis, either EV to sales, EV EBITDA, EV to free cash flow, I simply can't get to a valuation number that's less than 30 on a takeover. Okay, if we don't get a takeover and that premium isn't in the market, it still should be trading in the 24, 25 times area. It's a super sticky business. It's basically back office for the entire, you know, investment chain. So,
no, I hope you're right. I'm in this in a big way. I did reduce some after we hit the 200 DMA.
Around here in the 20s, even traded under 21. It's an absolute gift. Yeah, look, you know, people move on to other things when, you know, the rumors aren't hot and heavy, but you're going to wake up one day and this thing is going to be up $6 to $10. And I think it's going to happen in the next, you know, 30 to 60 days. That's a good return no matter how you slice it.
So we'll see what happens. I've been asking AI if they get bought out, you know, what a good price, what the price prediction would be. And it's saying like 25 to 26, and these analysts calling for 30 to 35 are being too aspirational. So we'll see. I would love for you to be right and get a $30 buyout in the next couple of weeks. That'll be
fair value is in that 26 range. Takeover premium, especially if it is a competitive bid, which is what the rumors seem to suggest. There's your premium for your extra $4 to get you to 30. I think 34 is the right number, but you know, who knows?
Okay. Let's see over here. So let me dig into some stocks I'm looking at this morning. Of course, he's covered Pat. That's the earnings are after the close. We'll be covering that in a live stream, probably in our community. Galaxy, I touched on that with Bitcoin back above the 20 DMA. So I'm in that. I've been collecting January call options. So hopefully that'll pay off. ASTS, we got a launch date, December 15th. Big one for the next generation satellite. I think this is going to have an underlying bid for the next couple of weeks. Dips will be bought. And then maybe if we have a successful launch, we can hit that 50 DMA on December 15th or December 16th up there at $68. Real quick, Rhett, you're an expert in ASTS. Do you concur with what I just said there, or do you have a different take on?
No, you get 2 thumbs up for me on that one. I definitely agree. I think we're going to see an event anticipation run. I'm just a little worried about launching and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's good, but at the same time, I mean, it's never going to be 100%.
Right. No, it's the event anticipation. That's a safe play, is the event anticipation, and you want to sell some before the launch. Of course, if the launch doesn't go well, this thing's going to be down 30% the next day. So
maybe even 50. Because I mean, that's a big.
There's something. I mean, it's not an existential threat.
They're fighting right now because I mean, I live near the area. they're trying. I think it's Blue Origin. They're trying to pump all their wastewater into our lagoon right here. So a lot of people are up in arms and they're fighting Bezos right now with that. So we'll see what happens there.
So anyway, I really haven't sold. I've been like kind of accumulating call options the last few days. I think it goes appreciably higher here the next 10 days. Okay, that's ASTS. And then ONDS, man, I know Godfather and I might disagree on this in terms of fundamentals or value. I love this company. I love what they're doing. I think they deserve a premium, and they'll be getting that sentiment premium. Another crazy deal today. Last 10 days, I did 2 European airports for $8 million each to protect the skies from drones. And then this morning, a border deal with the United States, tens of thousands of drones to protect the border. And that's going to start. The first order will be January. So I'm in the. I'm not. You know what? This has been so volatile, like crazy, and it tends to sell off on days of news and then go up the next day. It's just, I don't know who's controlling this, but it's just wild price action. And these moves are like, these candles are like 10, 15%. I'm not going to get shaken out today. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to hold this, and maybe tomorrow we get that 10% day. Which wasn't crazy with ONDS. And then Kodak, got to mention this one. Kodak, finally, they closed the deal. They've been working on this for 2 years. They got $614 million cash yesterday. Well, more like 456 million cash, and another 158 million that's going to come to them from hedge fund redemptions over the next 1 to 3 years. This thing is so cheap. You may not be able to find a cheaper stock in the entire stock market right now. It's trading at an EV to EBITDA of like 4. If you include the value of their real estate in their EV, which maybe you can't do, maybe that's a book value, maybe it's a sum of the parts thing. But they additionally, on top of that EV to EBITDA of 4, they have real estate probably worth $400 million at Eastman Kodak Park in New York, upstate New York. I mean, this thing is so cheap. And by the way, they inflected to like profitability in a big way last quarter. Their revenue is actually growing, small, but this thing is so cheap. And I added more in the official announcement yesterday. Ryan's back. I know you have some thoughts on ONDS.
Yeah, I loved the news here this morning. Like I was saying on my show earlier, a lot of the times we see some of these newsprints, the stock sells off afterwards and then bounces shortly after that. To me, this is all good. I think a number of things that you can take a look for in the coming future here. You are likely going to see these at the World Cup. You are likely going to see these at the 2028 Olympics in LA, and you're going to see them obviously added for border security here. Hegseth was saying they're going to ramp drones. Ondas is definitely going to be one of these. This is for. It's already been a huge winner because I was really loading the boat in the 77 cents area. So nice. I'm on trailers now. This is all gravy, and I plan on holding some of this forever.
Beautiful.
So
awesome. Sweet.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
All right, really good stuff here, guys. Did you guys have a great Thanksgiving?
I did. You?
Yeah, dude, this is one of my favorite holidays. Rhett,
I know.
My favorite.
Rhett, I love our chat saying, Rhett, collared shirt and a camo hat. This is a true country boy out here. Absolutely love it.
I actually got a hunt this weekend coming up. So
yeah, they were saying that too. They were saying that too. You guys, really good stuff. We'll catch up with you next week, right?
All right.
All right. That is Story Trading. Lots of really good stuff. Rhett, the Godfather, and Ben. Awesome stuff all the time. Folks, that's going to do it here for us today. We had a really kind of a packed Wednesday. It went by. I feel like we blinked and it went by. We're all set here. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused.